The two girls are very powerful. Hokage, Konoha's cultivation ability is much stronger than before, and there are many things that have never been seen before. The daimyo is very satisfied. Female ninjas are often in a relatively disadvantaged position among ninjas. After so many years, there are very few famous female ninjas, and there are even fewer medical ninjas. However, both Nohara Rin and Yuhi Hong have shown good fighting qualities. Especially Sunset Red. Even if the daimyo is not a ninja, she can still tell a thing or two. As early as the first time Nohara Rin had an illusion, she had the ability to end it with one blow. After all, not many people can survive this punch. This is all thanks to Kyoichi Kanda. He is quite talented in education, and Kurani Yuhi is his disciple. Kyoichi? Is he a medical ninja? His medical ninjutsu attainments are only below Tsunade's. The daimyo narrowed his eyes slightly and looked towards the auditorium. Only under Tsunade. Such an evaluation is already very scary. Really. He's a genius like second generation. Pity, such a person cannot be used for himself. He sighed secretly. But daimyo was stunned for a moment, looked at Kyoichi again, and then said in surprise, "That's Tsunade?" Yes, Tsunade just returned to the village a few days ago. Third generation is all smiles. My family knows my own affairs, and it is hard to say whether Tsunade can stay when he comes back. But Daming doesn't think so. He was happy to see Tsunade back.
Don't say anything else. Tsunade's method of healing a bunch of ninjas alone is enough to change the situation of the battle, not to mention that Tsunade also has powerful medical ninjutsu and command abilities, and his combat effectiveness is also very tyrannical.
When she comes back, Konoha will not be afraid of the two big ninja villages alone. This wave is stable. Afterwards, the daimyo was not interested in the battle at all. But the next time, he will know what is wonderful. Shisui's guy. Might Guy unlocked the door, while Shisui played the body flicker technique to ultimate, and the two were all over the field. If we talk about the battle between Kurenai Yuhi and Rin Nohara, it is a novel medical ninja gimmick. So, this time is the real hand-to-hand combat. The confrontation of sword and martial arts. Uchiha-style swordsmanship, Konoha-style swordsmanship, Wind-style swordsmanship. Nothing else. It just looks good, but it just feels that the power seems to be not strong, but in the end it was defeated by that funny-looking ninja. Daimyo doesn't understand. But the third generation understands. Kid Shisui must be paddling again, certainly. Even if Shisui makes a full shot, he will definitely not have to fight against Might Guy who has turned on 8 gates. Guy's overall strength must be higher than that of Shisui at this stage. So, there is no problem with this arrangement. Anyway, their respective directors have shown their strengths, and Shisui himself doesn't want to be promoted, so this arrangement is the best result. After the end, Kyoichi left immediately. Who should be promoted and who should not be promoted, the second round has already been decided. It's just going through the motions now. After watching the third scene, Kyoichi and Tsunade went to the hospital to observe the physical condition of Moonlight Hayate. Your surgery was perfect. He is recovering very quickly, and he can return to normal activities in a week at most. How long will it take to return to the normal physical level? That's hard to say. Tsunade shook his head. There is no precedent for two Dun's blood-inherited disease, so it is impossible to observe the specific situation. We still have to observe regularly and record the data. We can try to remove toxins regularly to see if we can meet the needs of the use of transmitting and ensure our health. Kyoichi said, thinking of 8 inner gates and respiratory reactivation art. 8 inner gates second gate, respiratory reactivation art learners or similar. I think the treatment should be checked regularly. Tsunade stopped after hearing this, thought for a long time, nodded slightly and said, it makes sense. She was thinking more than Kyoichi. Regularly checking and recording data can not only ensure the health of the ninja, but also with the help of a large amount of data, the effect of ninjutsu may be further improved in the future. Reduce side effects, use threshold and so on. Regular checkups should be scheduled, but smelly brat, you know how to arrange work for me, lest I leave the village. Why, haven't you already decided? Kyoichi chuckled. Tsunade was immediately powerless to refute. This kid. With a little clue, he guessed it by following the clues. Hateful. Shizune was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and asked in surprise, Master Tsunade, are we leaving? Do you want to continue wandering? All right. No, I want to stay in Konoha. Shizune said coyly. She was wandering with Tsunade before, and that kind of life was not stable, not suitable for learning and self-improvement. Not leaving for now. Hokage office. The third generation met with the daimyo, and just sent Minato to send the daimyo back with Flying Thunder God himself, and then began to deal with the affairs of this period of time, but after a while, they saw a special scroll of information. From the hospital. What can Konoha Hospital do? He opened the scroll, looked at it a few times, and then thought for a moment, with a sincere smile on his face. Psychological medicine. Periodic inspection. All good moves. Certainly. If it was only the proposals of these two, it would not make third generation so happy. What made him happy was the proposer. Tsunade, Kyochi Kanda. Go get Tsunade over. No, just get Kyochi over. Third generation wanted to call Tsunade at first. But after thinking about it, forget it. Tsunade is too difficult to talk, let Kyochi do it. Kyochi got the news and probably knew what was going on, and Tsunade was not surprised either. The old man will definitely agree, he comes to the building. The third generation couldn't wait a long time ago. As soon as he arrived, he got up and welcomed him in, and asked excitedly, is Tsunade? Isn't she leaving? Psychiatric medicine and regular checkups need her to preside over them. I won't leave for the time being. I don't know about the follow-up. Temporarily? That's fine, that's fine. Third generation felt lost, but he also knew Tsunade's situation, and it was not easy to agree to stay temporarily to preside over these tasks. He sighed and took out the scroll. Your proposal is very good. I will ask Muya Hospital to fully cooperate, especially psychological medicine. Anyone who needs it can propose it, including me. Third generation is awe-inspiring. Psychological medicine. He hadn't thought about it before, but he had lived a long time, and he had seen too many ninjas who couldn't show their strength due to psychological problems. Gyuugia is a typical case. Obviously has the ability of Jonin, but he is reduced to Genin. This is not only Gyuugia's own loss, but also a great loss for the village. Similar is Kakashi et al. Yes. Kyochi is not unexpected. Mental illness is actually quite common among ninjas. Third generation thought for a while, took out another scroll, and said, this is the information that Anbu dug up from the corpse of missed shinobi Jonin. Kyochi quickly took it. After taking a look, he said thoughtfully, Master Hokage, Kirigakure seems to have the upper hand of the Hawks, and they may attack us later. I think so too, Kyochi. I want you to be in charge of the Eastern Front. I? Kyochi was taken aback. I have only been promoted for less than a year, let him host. Can you convince the crowd? With Tsunade and me, you don't have to worry about anything else. With me here, what are you afraid of? Who dares to refuse, let them do it themselves. Tsunade was unreserved. Kyochi's qualifications are naturally insufficient. But when is it, are you still talking about qualifications? Konoha is about to face the siege of 3 ninja villages. Of course, those who are able will prevail, and whoever does it will stand up. If a group of old wastes are allowed to preside over it, they will only evade every step of the way and put the battle situation in crisis. Moreover, Tsunade smiled, the old man is paving the way for me, so that I have more power under my hands. If you do well, things will go smoothly on my side. Kyochi is a smart guy. So, Tsunade had no intention of hiding. In order for Kyochi's policy to be implemented smoothly, and for Konoha not to decline in the hands of a group of old guys. She's going to be Hokage. I got it. Kyochi nodded slightly. If it is a normal situation, with Tsunade's qualifications on stage, you don't have to worry about many things at all, and you can win directly by crushing it. Like Danzo. After Tsunade took the position, he immediately shrunk the root tissue and didn't dare to make any more moves. However, the difference now is that Tsunade's phobia has not healed. Third generation didn't ask, but he must have learned enough information from Sarutobi Lake Biwa. Combined with the previous information, it is not difficult to guess Tsunade's current situation. So he put Kyochi on the Eastern Front. Although Tsunade was very upset, there was nothing she could do about it. She had blood phobia and was destined not to be able to go to the front line. Jiraiya sits to the north. Orochimaru. There is probably a pool of dirty water on this guy, so let's wash himself off first. Tsunade thought about it, and besides Kyochi, there is only Namikaze Minato, but it is clear that Kyochi knows more about ninjutsu such as mist shinobi technique and water style. This is also the consideration of third generation. During this time, I will think about it and try to figure out that technique. Tsunade gritted his teeth and became ruthless. Kyochi is definitely going to the front line. But if he can learn ninja art, meiotic regeneration, his strength can be greatly improved. Certainly. In addition to ninja art, meiotic regeneration, Kyoshi actually has many directions for improvement. One is the system. During this period of time, he has actually been receiving some rewards. Although trivial, the addition of them has made his medical ninjutsu, water style and even illusion much stronger. The second is Rasengan. Naruto's wind style Rasengan Shuriken, he does not intend to copy it, there is not enough magic chakra, playing Rasengan Shuriken is courting death, he has his own ideas. High pressure water blade with Rasengan. This technique is carried out together with water-style swordsmanship. As long as high-pressure water-style swordsmanship can be achieved, water-style Rasengan will not be far away. 3. It is the wet bone forest. But Katsuyu Immortal has a gentle and kind personality. If his physique is up to the standard, he would have already said so there is no need for him to find it by himself. Kyoshi thought about it, and decided to go 1 and 2 together. Just when the Chunin exam is over, Kuroyuki, Shisui and Asuma return to the team. The 3 fat sheep were finally cultivated. Can't you squeeze it? At this time, outside the Uchiha tribe, in a forest. Shisui sat opposite one person. Both were miserable with a lot of injuries, but obviously, Shisui's injuries were less serious. You have strength. Why don't you come forward? Don't you want to make a name for our family? Idiot. Does our family still need fame? Shisui sneered. Who in the ninja world doesn't know us Uchiha? Our glory cannot be understood by outsiders. Even if we win the first place, it will not change others' perception of us. Then you pretend to be weak? Uchiha said angrily. It's not pretending, it's useless if Guy has secret skills. Does he have secret skills? Do you know about the 8th gate of the human body? My teacher said that Guy has mastered the secret technique to open the 8th gate, which can instantly increase his combat power several times. At that time, he only opened the first gate. What? Human body 8th gate, he naturally knows. It's unbelievable that Uchiha looks like a funny guy like a kappa, but he has such a powerful combat power? Impossible. He froze for a long time. Shisui found that Iron Fire had eliminated the hostility. He smiled for a while, then said, do you know who our Uchiha's worst enemy is? Of course. Tai Huo looked at the village, wanted to say something but dared not. You know, I actually did this at the command of the Patriarch. Impossible. You don't understand. There are 2 factions in the village, one side is soft on Uchiha, and the other side wants us to die, and thinks that the dead Uchiha is the good Uchiha, and the representative is the one who is root. Shisui confirmed with his senses that he wasn't being scouted, and then he said. What do you mean? The Patriarch said that we should unite with the faction that is good to us and beat down those who are hostile to us first, instead of treating the entire village as an enemy like the elders. No matter how strong Uchiha is, it is impossible for the entire Konoha to be an opponent. Shisui was persuasive and seductive, and flickered for a while. This is also a coincidence. Uchiha Tio suspects that he will pass the Chunin exam, so he comes to trouble him. After some theory, Shisui found that Tai Huo, who was 5 years older than himself, was an excellent experimental subject for the teacher's theory. So, there is the current situation. In fact, it is easy to fool a child with the teacher's things, and Tai Huo was immediately confused and dizzy. You may not understand. Let me make it simpler. There are 3 people in front of you. 2 want to beat you, and the other wants to persuade you to fight. What we have to do is not one-on-one, but to win over those who want to persuade us, and kill those who want to beat us. So I get it. Tai Huo suddenly realized, and suddenly became enlightened. Makes sense. Then what to do? Isn't Hokage promoting the will of fire? Let's learn. Let's pack it and change the will of fire. It's basically the same as it can confuse the opponent. Aha. Tio nodded repeatedly. Furthermore, treat the civilians and the ninjas of the small family with a better attitude, so that they can feel Uchiha's kindness. This. Okay. Tio hesitated for a moment, but still nodded. Anyway, the most important thing is to get rid of Danzo. Only by getting rid of him can we Uchiha have room to survive. It's a pity that there are not many people who agree with the Patriarch. My big brother Daohuo, I think we can win over. Don't worry, heal the wound first. Shisui didn't think about it until this point, so he couldn't continue to flicker for a while. Fortunately, Uchiha Tio was only 10 years old and didn't think about it carefully. Under the leadership of Shisui, Tio came to Yuhihong for treatment. But not long after he came out, he sent a shadow clone to Tsunade's house. You may not be able to find the teacher elsewhere, but there must be a teacher's shadow clone here. The same is true for asking questions and finding avatars. Teacher, please help, I want to know, Is there a way to adapt the will of fire? Let us Uchiha people approve. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry. The will of fire that Uchiha recognizes. Kyochi's shadow clone was stunned for a moment, then pondered for a few seconds before saying, it depends on who your target is. One is 10 years old, and the other is no more than 15 years old. Shisui completely forgot. Actually, Kyochi is only 16 years old now. In his heart, the teacher represents omnipotence. That's simple, it doesn't need to be too complicated, you just need to find a way to let them understand that Baiyu Zibo and Konoha have a close relationship. Kyochi said without thinking too much, for example, Uchiha is the elder of Konoha and Uchiha's property. It doesn't matter how you fight in the nest, but you can't watch outsiders smash your own property, right? That makes sense. Is there anything else? Shisui nodded repeatedly, thinking it made sense. According to the books in the clan, Madara, the ancestor of Uchiha, was best friends with Senju Hashirama, and there was a chance to become Hokage at one point. Even the old guys in the clan would nod to this set of rhetoric. It's easy to use this to deal with children, as expected of a teacher. Establish an enemy, unite the front, let everyone have someone to vent their anger on, and find a balance that unites everyone in the struggle. Yes. To unify the enemy, I did as you taught me beforehand. At the same time, Shisui told him about his theory after encountering Iron Fire. Kyochi nodded after listening. Pot shadow. In a sense, there is something wrong with it, so that his back can't go anywhere. Pulling a faction and fighting a faction, Shisui has done a good job. He thought for a while, and said, you have to remember to tell them that there are too many people who oppose it now, so they can't make a big show of it, and tell them not to tell their family members. In addition, it is best for them to realize the will of fire by themselves. Yes, yes. This is more impressive. Shisui clapped his hands repeatedly. They may not agree with what others say, but no one will doubt what they have realized. Children are the future of Uchiha, but it will take too long for them to grow up, and it is easy to change. But at present, it is not appropriate to be too aggressive. First, we should win over the younger generation in the clan, and then go from bottom to top. Don't make any decisions about adults in the near future. Understood. Thank you very much. Teacher, I'm waiting for news, let's go first. Shisui directly disbanded the clone. Kyochi was lost in thought. He remembered that the group of Uchiha kids who are now in their teens will perform well in the future, such as Shisui's flickering iron fire, and in the future they will have the strength of Sanguyu, not to mention how powerful they are, but at least they will not pull their hips. In the past few years, I have fooled this group of people. In the past few years, I really have the power to overturn Uchiha's decision-making. But there is a Uchiha Madara in the dark. Even if Kyochi can guarantee that Obito will not have an accident, who knows if Madara will come out with fire and water to make troubles. Uchiha has grown up, and there is no shortage of Obito with a single-minded mind. It is not difficult for Madara to pick one to start with, but the easiest to fool is of course children. But no one can stop Madara from becoming a thief at this level, but as long as Uchiha is coerced from the bottom up to fall to Konoha, it will be difficult for Madara to come out to make trouble even in a half-dead state. Forget it. Let the body worry about these things, and continue reading. He picked up a notebook and continued to study. The other end. Shisui did not find Kurenai Yuhi, but found Rin Nohara and asked Rin to help with treatment. After some tossing, the two recovered from their injuries and returned to the surrounding areas of the clan. Have you thought of a way? I have some ideas, but I don't quite understand them. Otherwise, let's discuss them first. Sure. Shisui said, speaking the selected part taught by Kyochi. The core of the will of fire is to protect the village in the future. This does not seem to be contrary to our Uchiha interests. How to say? Our ancestors were one of the founders of Konoha, so we are the guards, the village is our property, and the common people and small families are our partners. Shouldn't we protect our partners? It seems reasonable to say so, but they don't recognize us. Uchiha Tio was stunned after hearing this. He thinks it makes sense. However, ordinary people and small families don't think they are partners. So let's clear up the misunderstanding and let the common people and small families know that Uchiha is not what they think. Makes sense. The words are very clear. Even with the limited thinking of Iron Fire, it can still understand the context. You can't become a Hokage by force. Well, that's what the patriarch said. Seeing Tio, Shisui instantly agreed, and his mind became a little more stable. Yeah, force is the enemy of most of the Konoha shinobi, and force is not enough. Tio nodded repeatedly. Hokage. Yes. Isn't this what Uchiha pictured? The ideas of the clan elders are too simple. The ancestor Madara is so powerful, but still failed to succeed, let alone them. Can't go the old way. The patriarch is wise. He realized. Afterwards, Tai Huo was a little ashamed. Shisui is only 5 years old and he understands so well, and he still felt that Shisui was unwilling to contribute to the family. So, he plopped down on his knees. Shisui, I misunderstood you, I'm very sorry. We are all partners. I'm sorry for talking about it. Get up, your brother. My suggestion is this. Slowly reveal these thoughts in your life. Clear. Well, I will find some related books for you later, and you can ask your brother questions from time to time. Over time, he will naturally understand. Shisui thought about it, and felt that it might not be reliable to let Tai Huo talk easily. This guy is a bit dumb. It is better to teach more carefully. Kyochi main body here. Complete the ideological construction, teaching. Evaluation. Excellent. Reward. Illusion bubble. Where did this reward come from? Shadow Clone didn't disband, so he's at a loss now and doesn't understand the situation at all. But the reward satisfied Kyochi, however. Foam. In the Hokage anime, this illusion can be activated by simply moving your fingers or cooperating with a crow. It can also be activated by Sharingan. It is not powerful, but it is very functional. Kyochi has been greedy for a long time, and originally planned to study finger movement illusion, but has never had time. Just save now. With it, even if the light is not enough, you can also cooperate with swordsmanship. The only problem is, if it is a scene where things cannot be seen in the fog or at night, the illusion still cannot work. Can only say, no one knows Uchiha better than Senju Tobirama. Kyochi didn't know, but after Shisui went back, he played tricks and seduced him earnestly, which really made Tai Huo believe that. And the two were thinking about how to fool Dao Huo. It belongs to the unity of knowing and doing. There is still a period of time for Shisui to arrange. In a few days, Kyochi may have to take them to the east of the Fireland to guard against Kirigakure ninjas. Even, not just the Kirigakure ninjas, but maybe the Cloud Shinobi ninjas from the northeast. A lot of pressure. Certainly. It is not only him who is under great pressure, but also Sarutobi Hiruzen. After all, it is quite risky for some people to let Kyochi preside over the Eastern Front. Hiruzen, let a 16-year-old Jonin take command of the Eastern Front, your decision is too impulsive. The previous forbidden technique and this appointment, you were too reckless and didn't discuss with us at all. The two advisors are at it again. Sarutobi Hiruzen's head was cracked. He never thought that after he tried to change, the biggest obstacle came not from Danzo, but his two old buddies for many years. He hesitated to speak, and finally sighed. If you don't let him go, will any of you be willing to go to the front to command the battle? This, Mitokado Homura hesitated. Udatane Kaharu hesitated for a moment, and finally said, no way. The 7 ninja swordsmen are not good stubble. That's what I said. Just say you don't believe it. Udatane Kaharu's mouth twitched, but he didn't refute third generation's statement. The 7 ninja swordsmen are indeed not good enemies. Even in their youth, they dare not say that they can defeat the 7 people. Although the commander does not have to fight, he must make a move at a critical moment. I started to let Kyochi study the mist shinobi technique a few months ago, and it has been very effective recently. He can use the mist to perform illusions so that the opponent can't find his position. In addition, he is a master of swordsmanship, and the 7 ninja swordsmen can't get cheap. Only then does third generation explain. Udatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura are powerless to refute, and third generation's you can do it as very lethal. They hadn't been on the battlefield for a long time, and they really didn't dare to go there. It's not that he is afraid of death, but that the lives of thousands of ninjas are too heavy. They subconsciously dare not bear the burden. Hiruzen, we understand that you want to change and make Konoha stronger, but if you are too radical, you will regret it. Mitokado Homura's words are weak. Even. Deja vu. Third generation didn't study it carefully, he just felt tired. The two old friends didn't understand what he and Kyochi were thinking at all, and they seemed to be against each other. They are all outdated people. He lost his patience, waved off the two consultants, and sat silent for a long time. Third generation didn't say a word. Both Kyochi and Tsunade have a contract with Katsuyu, and they can exchange information through Katsuyu, so letting Kyochi direct is actually indirectly letting Tsunade direct. But the reasons behind it cannot be explained in detail. In addition, the war has not yet started, but Jiraiya sent information that Iwagakure and Cloud Shinobi Village in the north are very restless, but the two villages are very restrained and there is no friction. It doesn't make sense, he has reason to believe. It is likely that some kind of tacit agreement will be reached between the two countries. Combined with Kirigakure to the east, Konoha is in a dangerous situation right now. At this time of danger, it is even more important to boldly use newcomers who are brave and capable, just like second Hokage back then. At least now, this old guy can still move. It really doesn't work, you can do it yourself. Anyway, there are successors. Third generation had a plan in mind, and finally became determined. The plan remains the same. Young people need experience, but currently there is not much time for them to grow up. We can only hope that Kyoshi can withstand the pressure and grow up quickly. There was a lot of pressure on his side, but Kyoshi didn't think much of it. It is indeed difficult to direct a group of people. But Kyoshi has his own advantages, he is well aware of Kirigakure's situation. Kirigakure dare not stud. The top combat forces they sent were only 7 ninja swordsmen. Although strong, it is not enough to be afraid of. Moonlight Gale was discharged from the hospital. Meanwhile, Kyoshi's new chakra knife has also arrived. A ninja sword that is not too long. Its biggest advantage is that it is convenient to use sword drawing and various attributes of swordsmanship. Although the increase of each chakra is not as powerful as Kakashi and Asuma's chakra weapons, it is more comprehensive. Kyoshi is satisfied. Originally, he planned to go to the front line recently, but another incident made them have to stay temporarily. Forbidden technique unlocked. With the war approaching, the third generation didn't have much time to hesitate, and directly decided to implement the forbidden technique open policy according to Tsunade and Kyoshi's plan. Then, in Konoha's Jonin, was secretly called to a base. Master Hokage. Hundreds of ninjas. The last ones here are all special Jonin. Many of them are family ninjas. Collectively, they can be called the elite among Konoha's existing ninjas. The main reason for calling everyone here today is to popularize the two techniques. Third generation is straightforward. Immediately afterwards, he hung up 2 ninjutsu scrolls and opened them vertically. Everyone looked over together. After a while, Master Hokage, isn't it a bit? Yamanaka was surprised. The first one is the opening method of 8 inner gates 1 and 2nd gate, and the second scroll is to use breathing to enhance cell activity, improve strength, speed, etc. This is the forbidden technique. Third generation is going to popularize forbidden technique, but he has not received any news at all. Listen to Lord Hokage first. Lu Ju opened his mouth. He naturally knew the inside story, so he did not object to this plan. The plan was perfect, and there was absolutely no reason to object to it. I believe everyone knows that the situation is very bad recently. The 3 major ninja villages all want to attack us, and the war is imminent. These 2 techniques are forbidden technique. The purpose of promoting them is not to allow everyone to abuse them, but to hope that you can survive more while performing missions and fighting on the battlefield. Konoha can't bear too much loss. Of course, all this is voluntary. It's understandable if you don't want to learn it. If you learn forbidden technique, you have to go to the hospital for free examination and treatment every once in a while. Third generation has a heavy tone. Each Jonin needs a lot of time to develop, and losing one is a heavy loss for Konoha, which is another reason why he made a quick decision. The Jonins fell silent. Everything third generation says is true. In Konoha's war, instead of allowing Chunin and Genin to be cannon fodder and charge forward, the Jonin bear a lot of pressure instead, so Jonin loses a lot in every war. If they learn these 2 forbidden techniques, their survival rate will indeed be greatly improved. In comparison, many side effects are almost negligible. Living is the last word. My lord, I am willing to learn. I would too. The first Jonin who spoke was Tekuno, who were all civilians. He climbed up from Genin step by step, and is good at hidden weapon manipulation and traps. Tekuno was wide awake. Family ninjas have various methods. Even without these 2 techniques, they still have a high chance of surviving on the battlefield, but civilians like them are different. 2 life-saving forbidden technique. He must consider whether this is the only chance in this life. To the end. Basically, all ninjas voluntarily learn the forbidden technique. Don't overwhelm yourself with too many skills. Learn it first, then consider whether to use it or not. Very well, then, Kyoshi Kanda will teach you the breathing activation technique later. After third generation finished speaking, the middle position was released. Kyoshi stepped up. He knows that this is the third generation paving the way for his future conducting. After teaching them now, and becoming conductors in the future, These people must be grateful. Go up. He pointed left and right. 8 inner gates and breathing activation technique have their own advantages and disadvantages. Let me briefly say that 8 gate is more difficult. Even second gate is not something that everyone can learn. It requires you to constantly challenge your limits. After Kyoshi finished speaking, he paused to give everyone enough time to think. The Jonins all looked at Might Dai. A while ago, Might Dai Jinsheng was a special Jonin. During this time, everyone has seen the strangeness of this new Jonin. Every kind of extreme exercise every day, and he also shouted shameful slogans, which can be called performance art. So, Kyoshi mentioned the need to challenge the limit, and the signature under 8 inner gates is Might Dai. They immediately thought of Dai's various weird behaviors, and they shuddered instantly. Do you have to do that to practice 8 inner gates? Hey, don't get me wrong. There are many ways to challenge the limit. Mine are just some of my personal preferences, not the standard. The expressions of these people might be too familiar. He stood up and explained. Senior Dai, is there any other way? Tekuno asked immediately. I kept increasing the number of exercises, persisted for a period of time, and finally opened the door naturally, so. Might be a little embarrassed to wear it. This is the truth. Might Guy he taught that too. Many Jonin are silent. Open it after practicing. Simple and brutal. But it is obviously impossible to use this stupid method to learn in a short period of time. Everyone's attention has shifted from Might Dai to Kyoshi. They have heard of Kyoshi's ability. Among other things, Kyoshi's various educational ideas during this period have become well known throughout Konoha, and anyone who has children knows these measures and their significance. In the eyes of Kyoshi at this moment, they are no different from the children taught in the ninja school. Of course there are other ways, but they are not normal, like climbing rocks one-handed without chakra. Kyoshi said. Kakashi does just that. Without chakra, I used my physical strength to climb rocks with one hand, challenged my own limit, and finally successfully opened the first door. As for the second Hue door, with the door open, the Dao is easier to open. One-handed rock climbing. As soon as Tekuno heard the request, he could imagine how difficult it was. No wonder the door can be opened. Everyone was silent again. This is the first door. The human body has 8 gates. How pervert is the person who opens the 8 gates? It is said that this Might Dai has the ability to open the 8 gate. They looked at Might Dai, and their eyes turned into reverence and admiration at this moment. There are many strong ones. But there are very few ninjas in the entire ninja world who become ninjas of this level simply by hard work and hard work. Might Dai deserves their respect. So, now let's talk about breathing activation? Okay. Kyoshi Jonin, let's talk about breath activation. I think this is easier and suitable for us to use ninjutsu. Really. As soon as Kyoshi finished speaking, a bunch of Jonin immediately took up the conversation, some even felt. 8 inner gates is so difficult, how about breathing activation? Will it be simple, or harder? They've heard that Kyoshi has occasional educational travesties, and maybe this time too. But soon, everyone put aside their doubts. Because after Kyoshi explained it, they found that although the breath activation technique is difficult, compared with 8 inner gates, this technique is very easy to get started. The difficult thing is how to control it in a balanced way so that the whole body can be improved evenly, rather than the cells in a certain place are extremely active, while the other part is not improved at all. This requires extremely strong chakra controllability, which is also the threshold condition that Kyoshi has always wanted to lower. However, after half a day of research, the 4th activity is almost completed, but the lowering of the threshold has not been able to meet the requirements. In the end, we had to give up. Now what the Jonins see is the final version. Using oxygen to enhance cell activity is indeed lower than the threshold of 8 inner gates. Tsunade said, but correspondingly, the cost is also greater. The opening and closing of the 8 gates only cause slight damage to the body, and the overall impact is not great, while the breathing activation technique will reduce lifespan. Survival is the key. Someone said, reducing the number of uses, a little lifespan is nothing, and besides. As he said, he bowed deeply, full of pleading. Dai Jonin, I want to ask you something. If my disciple can practice 8 inner gates, can you teach my disciple to be complete? Kyoshi didn't recognize him at first, because the image of this person was very different from that in the anime, almost not a person, but after hearing Dai's name for him, he immediately remembered it. Senior Chen, please don't do this. I didn't intend to hide 8 inner gates, but this technique is very harmful to me, and the threshold is too high, so I only released the 2 gates. Might Dai hurriedly helped him up, and then explained. List? The gym master in the anime. Kyoshi remembered instantly. My disciple only knows taijutsu, but he doesn't know ninjutsu or illusion. Others think he can't be a ninja, but he still becomes a ninja. He convinced me that even if he knows only physical skills, he can still become a qualified ninja. I want to give him a wider path. Chen Baojun began to talk about his disciples. In terms of physical skills, Mr. Chen is stronger than the current Might Dai and Might Guy, but once the 8th gate is opened, it is not a level. In reality, in the Third Ninja World War, Chen Baojun's disciple died in battle because he did not know ninjutsu and illusion, and teacher Chen himself was also depressed, and since then he has retired by feigning death. Kyoshi was silent. This is a respectable physical master. He looked at Might Dai and third generation, and did not intervene, because Chen Baojun was not asking for the forbidden technique for himself, but for his disciples. The nature is different. I can exchange it with my own physical moves.
Chen Baojun suddenly thought of his physical skills.
The only thing he can exchange is this. Can you demonstrate? Third generation said. He is not greedy for physical skills, but the precedent of forbidden technique being given away for free cannot be set. Otherwise everyone will come to ask for it because of unspeakable secrets, and the so-called forbidden technique will become nonsense. Senior Chen, let me be your opponent. By the way, I will also demonstrate the use of breathing activation technique, opening and closing doors. Kyoshi stood up. In terms of pure body skills, naturally Might Dai is stronger than him. But in terms of how to cooperate and highlight the opponent, Might Dai is definitely not as good at acting as himself. Okay, I'll keep my hands. No, Senior Chen, you just need to attack with all your strength, don't worry about hurting him. Tsunade smiled. The others also smiled knowingly. Really? Kyoshi himself is a medical expert, plus Tsunade, a well-known medical ninja in the whole ninja world. As long as he doesn't die, it's not a big problem. Chen Baojun bowed gratefully after hearing this, and then formed the seal of opposition. Next moment, he attacked directly. Normal status. Kyoshi didn't use a sword, but used taijutsu to fight. When Chen was about to attack him, he avoided it to the limit, but at this time, he had no time to fight back. It's not acting, but I really don't have a chance. Chen Baojun is too fast. So fast, their Jonin exclaimed. With Chen Baojun's speed, they couldn't dodge it without using the body flicker technique and body replacement technique, but Kyoshi used his body speed and reaction to dodge it. For this alone, everyone dare not underestimate Kyoshi. This kid's Jonin has no moisture at all. Kyoshi Jonin, I won't hold back this time. Please do your best. As soon as Kyoshi finished speaking, he saw a black shadow approaching his eyes. So fast. He opened the door instantly. Next moment. Boom. With one kick, Chen Baojun was kicked out. But Kyoshi knew very well that the opponent backed away and the kick did not cause any damage. This is the door. Sure enough, the improvement is huge. Chen Baojun was very excited. He is highly skilled in physical arts, so he naturally understands what happened to Kyoshi. Improve physical functions such as strength and speed. Increased control. The combined effect of the two is whoosh. Kyoshi was already in front of him. Boom. This time it was Chen Baojun who was unable to fight back. Too fast to blink. Because in the blink of an eye, he might be attacked. Even. In the process, Kyoshi also performed many taijutsu poses that cannot be used normally. This is to open the door? All Jonin were startled. The effect is too strong. But they noticed that after Kyoshi opened the door, chakra had a momentary explosion. I'm afraid it won't work well with ninjutsu, thought the Jonin. It's the door opener plus the body flicker technique. Kyoshi landed and pulled away. A series of attacks cost him a lot of physical energy. The most amazing thing is that Chen blocked them all. Although it was very difficult, he only hit 3 kicks in the front and back, and did not cause too much damage. It's my turn. Chen Baojun took a deep breath and followed closely. Whoosh. The original figure gradually disappeared. Afterimage. Respiratory activity. And wind blows. A tornado appeared beside Kyoshi and swept in all directions. But Kyoshi's speed is still extremely fast, avoiding, changing positions, and then forming a mudra with both hands, and the mudra is completed in the blink of an eye. The speed of the hands is incredible. Earth-style Wangchen Swamp. The huge mud engulfed the bottom of the tornado. Although it could not make Chen Baojun sink, it greatly slowed down his speed. But in an instant, the tornado turned into a dragon and flew out. Earth flow wall, water barrier. A strong defense was formed quickly, but it was torn apart by the tornado. However, Chen's attack had reached the end of its strength so far. The two separated and did not continue to attack. Third Generation and Tsunade laughed and said nothing. Many Jonin do not understand Kyoshi, but the two of them knew that Kyoshi's strength, even if he only used taijutsu, would not be at this level. Shisui's paddling and acting skills are all learned from the teacher. Just now I used the breathing activation technique and my body technique Konoha Dragon God. Chen Baojun closed his eyes, and said after a while, this technique is to enhance cell activity, not to squeeze the body's strength, so there will be no 8-gate fatigue after use. As expected of a senior, you will feel a strong sense of fatigue after opening the 8 inner gates, so you need to learn to shut the gates. Shutting the gates can further stimulate the body and allow one's physical strength to recover quickly. Might be admired by Dai. For many years, Chen Baojun has researched and developed powerful gymnastics moves that can be achieved without using the 8-gate. He admired such persistence. Just now I used the door to restore my strength, and then I used the breath activation technique. Everyone can see that opening the door can enhance one's control over the body, which is suitable for the Ligand technique, and the breath activation technique can comprehensively improve the body's functions. Respiratory activation is more versatile, especially for those of us who are good at ninjutsu. It is better to learn breathing activation. Nara Shikahisa said. Most ninjas do not rely solely on body skills, but rely more on ninjutsu. Therefore, breath activation is easier to popularize, and 8 inner gates is suitable for ninjas who are good at body skills. That's right. I suggest that those who are good at physical arts learn both, and those who are not good at physical arts only need to learn breathing activation. That's pretty much it. After Kyoshi concluded, these Jonin were basically not confused. What to do is already very clear. Afterwards, old Chen looked eagerly at Third Generation, and the meaning was self-evident. Who can stand this expression in his 40s? Third Generation said helplessly, you can exchange 8 inner gates with Dai with physical skills. You can discuss the specific conditions yourself. Thank you Hokage-sama. Chen Baojun chatted with Might Dai aside. Few ninjas can reach the 8 inner gates threshold. That's what Kyoshi expected. The 8 gate was not created for ordinary people, and only ruthless people like Might Dai and Might Guy can open it. Kakashi's physical training is considered strong, but he still can only stop and close the gate. The same goes for Kyoshi herself. After opening the 3rd gate, it is very difficult to go up. During this period of time, he has never forgotten to exercise his body, but he can barely see the 4th gate. Respiratory activation is simple. Most of the Jonins have accumulated a lot of knowledge. After reading ninjutsu scrolls, they can usually learn it by themselves. For example, Chen Baojun mastered it directly after reading it. Therefore, there is no need for Kyoshi to teach at all. Just to name a few tricks. So Kyoshi doesn't think this wave of rewards will be that high. Complete the forbidden technique, drill teaching. Evaluation. Good, reward, chakra absorption. Kyoshi didn't expect this technique. It is the secret technique of red copper armor. However, although it can absorb physical energy and spiritual energy, it can only absorb it by touching the opponent with its palm, and cannot absorb chakra that has become a ninjutsu. I can't say it's useless, I can only say, rather tasteless. It's rare for this thing to be secret, so it can't be said that the reward is bad. Kyoshi thought about it, and felt that it was not useless. If the conversion rate is high enough and it can be used with other parts of the foot body, it may be able to play a good role on the battlefield with teammates, and Katsuyu technique. Go back and study. Kyoshi closed the system panel and turned his attention back to his eyes. Everyone is practicing. Only Chen Baojun and Dai, the two of them were discussing physical skills frantically over there. Their style of painting was completely different from others. This trick of the Dragon God is absolutely flawless. Physical arts are performed by humans. No matter how strong the tornado is, if it hits a person, it's enough to make you stop. This is a flaw. There is wind all around me, how can it hit me? Chen Baojun was a little unconvinced. Might Dai can't say it, he lacks theories, and he just feels that there is a flaw at this time, so he can't tell the specifics. After hearing this, Kyoshi couldn't help coming over to join in the fun. Your technique simulates a tornado, and the eye of the tornado has no wind, it is a flaw. Kyoshi said. In the anime, Xiao Li used this flaw to break the Dragon God with Biao Lianhua. After hearing this, Chen Baojun was stunned for a long time. He wanted to speak harshly, but he couldn't find a reason to refute for a while, so he opened his mouth, and was surprised at the end. You see it? Not at first, but after you broke my 2 defensive ninjas in a row, I saw it. Old Chen was silent. He understood, Kyoshi saw it, how could there be no way to crack it? Not broken is just to give him face. Don't think too much, this technique is really powerful, its flaws are not impossible to make up for, and knowing the flaws may not necessarily be an advantage. Kyoshi said. How to say, he cares about chaos. Might Dai scratched his head and said, it's not difficult, if he comes from Fengen, wouldn't he be able to hit him directly? It's one, the other, adjusting the wind direction. Many questions often have very simple answers. That's the case with Dragon God's move, so. In the end, it becomes a duel of speed, whoever is faster will do. If Chen Baojun can learn 8 inner gates, there are not many people who can match him in terms of speed, but it's a pity. He is physically strong, but after all, he is over 40. At this age, his body began to decline, and it was not easy to maintain his body functions. He has missed the best time. Even if he can learn the 8 inner gates, which can open the damage of the 8 gates of the human body, his current body may not be able to bear it. Kyoshi thought about it, and said a few more words on this point. Senior Chen, even if you can practice 8 inner gates, you must not open several gates at once, it is better to open them one by one, so as to reduce the damage caused by opening the 8 gates. There is another saying? Chen Baojun was taken aback. If it weren't for Kyoshi's reminder, he would really have the idea of going back to challenge the limit and rushing 2 or 3 times in one breath. After he instinctively said something, he realized that he had said something stupid. Which Jonin doesn't know about Kyoshi's medical skills? Katsuyu, medical ninjutsu, and strong fighting power, is simply a replica of Tsunade. Whether he can survive depends on him, this is the father on the battlefield. Furthermore, people are professionals, can you still fool him? Very sorry. Chen Baojun quickly bowed and apologized. It doesn't have to be like this, I'm just telling you that you have this situation, but you don't have this kind of problem if you don't learn the 3rd gate or above. After listening to Kyoshi's explanation, everyone immediately relaxed. In addition to Chen Baojun, there are still some ninjas who want to learn to open and close the door. After all, it is the forbidden technique for life-saving outbreaks, and everyone is Jonin. It is not difficult to see one thing. If the physical fitness is up to standard, 8-gate and breathing technique can be used at the same time. It is always right to learn more. What Kyoshi didn't expect was that, with a few casual words, he also got the physical skill of Konoha's sudden wind from Chen Baojun. It was a surprise. It doesn't take much time to teach Jonin, everyone is smart. Gather in the morning and leave at noon. Kyoshi had dinner with Tsunade, and Tsunade talked with him about the meaning of 3rd generation. Promote and establish prestige. Step by step is all about preparing for Kyoshi to go to the Eastern Front. The ninjas who went to the Eastern Front may be the group that benefited today. Kyoshi thinks so. After all, Tsunade is a conductor and knows the way inside. A few days. Sure enough, he received the list. These people were the Jonin team that went to the Eastern Front one step ahead of him. Mostly Jonin who benefited that day. And on this day, Kyoshi also had to set off to perform patrol duties in the eastern part of the Land of Fire. But not that Kirigakure made trouble, quite the opposite. Cloud Shinobi Village has some action first. On the border of the Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi is becoming more and more active, and there are even traces of Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi in the Land of Fire. At the same time, Iwagakure also has information on Anbu. There are many Rock Shinobi ninjas active on the border, and they seem to be fighting across the border. This is a bad sign. Mimura may have reached a tacit agreement. Night. Kyoshi chatted with Asuma and the others about the mission tomorrow, and it was already dusk when they got home, thinking whether to go out for a meal, but when they opened the door and came home, they could smell the strong aroma of rice. He froze for a moment. Looking sideways, I saw Tsunade and Shizune surrounding the table with a pile of food on it. Welcome home. Let's eat. Tsunade smiled softly. Miss Tsunade, did you do this? Kyoshi couldn't believe it. The food on the table is not exquisite, but it looks delicious, not dark food. Tsunade is so good at cooking. No. He remembered that Nawaki ate Tsunade's meal and nearly died driving it. Why, don't you believe it? You can tell that little Shizune's cooking is really good, but it's hard work for Miss Tsunade to wait until now. You're the only one who talks too much. Tsunade's face was stiff and his expression was stinky. Shizune laughed out loud. She said that Tsunade couldn't hide it from Kyoshi, but Tsunade still didn't believe it. The three picked up chopsticks. I'm gonna start now. At this time, The room under the light looked a little warm. The next day. Let's go, don't send me off. Oh, it's just going to the battlefield, who will send it? Hurry up and get out. Tsunade sneered. But, when Kyochi walked out the door, she leaned against the edge of the door and looked out the door with a worried and disappointed expression on her face. I won't gamble this time. Must come back. She muttered to herself, so low that no one else could hear her. Shizune didn't speak. But she knew that Master Tsunade must be very worried about Kyochi's safety. Just like those two before. Shizune, starting today, I will train you twice as hard, if you dare to be lazy. Huh. What? Shizune was surprised, and then saw Tsunade go back into the house and took out her notebook with a stack of books next to it. All medical books. Some were Tsunade's own, while the other pile was shoved to Shizune's side. Read the book. Ask questions if you don't understand. After Tsunade finished speaking, she buried her head in the book. She wanted to research the Muji cure as soon as possible. And at this time, at the entrance of the village, Kyochi has gathered with Shisui and the others. Teacher, what is our mission this time? Asuma asked curiously. On the side, Yuhi Hong and Shisui didn't pay attention to the task itself, they had different thoughts. Kurenai Yuhi ponders medical ninjutsu, as for Shisui, his mind is full of how to fool the tribe. Kyochi's strategy is very successful. In the past few days, Shisui has joined forces with Tio to slowly influence Daohuo, and it was Daohuo who thought out a little bit from the book by himself. Unfortunately, at this juncture, he actually had to go out to do a mission. I don't know if Iron Fire will work. He sighed, a little worried in his heart, but he had to withdraw his thoughts from his eyes, only to hear the shocking news. To the Eastern Front, is there going to be a war? The attention of the three of them was raised to the extreme in an instant. There is a war, and, are they the first? The three of them were both scared and excited. Well, the exact time to fight depends on Kirigakure's actions, or, look at me. Are you the conductor? Shisui's eyes widened. In the past few days, he has been reading these books that have nothing to do with ninjutsu in order to fool the people of the tribe. Although many of them cannot understand, they are somewhat sharper than Asuma and Kurenai Yuhi. Command represents many factors. Is it possible for a teacher to become a Hokage? He was excited. If the teacher becomes Hokage, then Uchiha's last worries can be resolved. The teacher is in charge, and his attitude towards Uchiha is definitely relatively gentle. Well, but don't think too much about it, it's just a command, and I have to discuss it with Master Tsunade, it's not a matter of words. Kyochi smiled. He mainly talks to Shisui. The conversation between Shisui and the clone before was synchronized to his side after Shadow Clone ended, so Kyochi knew what Shisui was doing during this time. He has grown up rapidly recently, and his mind tends to go astray and go into misunderstandings, thinking too much and sometimes not doing enough. Shisui understood and nodded slightly. Master Tsunade. This one should be good too. You can do some research when you go back. In short, it will definitely be good for the Uchiha family. It's amazing. The teacher is only 7 years older than me, and he is already the commander of the Eastern Front. Asuma is sincerely envious and admired. Didn't you notice? It's all about the teacher's news recently, obviously there is a big move. Sunset Red said. She often goes to the hospital, and when she looks up, she can see Kyochi's name on the bulletin board. So, she vaguely understood that the higher-up must have a new appointment for the teacher. Really. Today's mission. Being a Chunin is different. Intelligence collection and analysis have improved a lot. Yes, keep going. Kyochi stroked Yuhiko's hair. Very supple. Feels great. Teacher, even you make fun of me. Yuhi Hong didn't feel how proud Chunin was. I'm not as good as Shisui in terms of strength or comprehensiveness. My Chunin quota is obviously his. She complained for Shisui. Because of the second exam, Shisui's role is much greater than hers, but most of the time it is in secret and no one knows. At least she thought so. Ha 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 ha. Kyochi smiled and didn't answer. Shisui explained. Don't think too much, you have reached the level of strength, you fought for this Chunin quota yourself, as for me. I asked for it on my own initiative, I don't want to be promoted to Chunin so early. What? Asuma was surprised. He also complained about Shisui, and felt that the old man must have eccentrically suppressed Uchiha. Result, actually, Shisui asked for it on his own initiative, which is true and unexpected. This, why? Yuhi Hong was stunned. It's inconvenient to say the reason, but it was indeed my request. I discussed this matter with the teacher, and the teacher agreed with me. Shisui didn't elaborate on why, not mistrust. This is Uchiha's internal matter, and it is not good for Yuhihong and Asuma to get involved, so as to avoid implicating them in Uchiha. As for the teacher, Shisui counted, and felt that there was no one in his clan who could hurt Sensei. Now Uchiha can't really come up with a top talent. Shisui was also very proud before, but when he came out, he realized that there were so many geniuses out there. Apart from their past glory, Shisui had nothing to be proud of. Kurenai Yuhi and Asuma didn't ask any more questions, and the four of them headed towards the east of the Land of Fire. On the way, Kyochi found some ninja traces, very shallow. However, whoever walks will leave traces. The ninjas are precise, but some unimportant details will still reveal flaws, such as the leaves that were crushed when I was on the road. Sensei, is this left by Mist Shinobi? It's not clear yet. It remains to be seen. Continue to walk here and have a look. Kyochi didn't jump to conclusions right away. It may also be left by one of our own people. They track it down. On the way, Shisui, Asuma and Kurenai Yuhi paid 100% attention to observe the surrounding traces all the time. Have to say, after going through the Battle Royale version of the exam, the abilities and cooperation of the three of them have improved a lot, and the tacit understanding with each other has become stronger. While investigating all the way, they still maintain vigilance and standing, and can help each other at any time. On the way, they also found traces left behind. Little traces left on the branches. Chase all the way down. Not long. Teacher, I tracked it down, but it seems to be one of my own. Kurenai Yuhi sensed Might Guy catch up and ask. Kyochi nodded. He didn't think it was that simple. Maybe the other party was also following him. To the front. In the woods, with a whoosh, a green shadow flew out. Boom. With a sound, Might Guy was kicked out by Kyochi directly. Guy was kicked before he came to his senses. Ms. Kyochi. I just hid behind a tree and couldn't see it. I thought it was an enemy. Might Guy scratched his head. He has been wearing the Education of Love by Might for many years. Kyochi's kick did not cause any damage at all, and he got up after patting his clothes. After getting up, he looked at the other three with slightly confused eyes. Might Guy recognizes them, but can't remember the name. Did you search here, or did you patrol in this direction? Kyochi didn't give him a chance to say hello. He knew that Guy couldn't use it. Mr. Kyochi, we came here to search for traces, but after we got here, the other party cleaned up very well, so we can't track it down. Might Guy finished. The sound of trembling branches came from the forest. Not for a while. Bai Yunzao, Ebisu and Shiranui Genma appear. See this scene. Bai Yun touched his forehead and sighed in the morning. He guessed the situation. Guy, next time you have to recognize it before going up. Otherwise, when you are stronger, what should you do if you accidentally injure a friendly army? Ha ha ha, it seems that this is not the first time. Kyochi couldn't help laughing. In the play, Might Guy didn't remember Hoshigaki Kisame until the end, and Kisame was so angry that Chunin met Obito for the second time in the exam, and he also didn't remember who Obito was. Can only say, this strength, memory and hard work come in exchange for it. Nothing to envy. Yes, I will definitely next time. Might Guy scratched his head. Shisui and the others snickered to themselves. This guy. Although she was promoted to Chunin, she was still so unreliable. In this comparison, Yuhihong looked more like a Chunin. Senior morning, let's talk about what we found. Kyochi coughed lightly. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Although Might Guy is offline, he is more reliable most of the time, so don't pay too much attention to some details. Bai Yun explained his situation in the morning. They followed from the other side. But the same thing is, the clues on both sides are broken here. The other party is very cautious in this area. There is reason to believe that this is the place where the Mist Shinobi ninjas met and left, so they handled it very cleanly, leaving no trace. Bai Yun used to belong to Anbu in the morning, and he often handles these things outside, so he is familiar with the road. If you wait here, will the other party continue to land here? Kyochi thought for a while and asked directly. He really doesn't understand. If you don't understand, just ask, it's no big deal. Bai Yun shook his head in the morning and said, generally speaking, the points where assassination troops sneak in and leave will change, so as to avoid being caught and laying ambushes regularly. Waiting here will not be rewarding. Pity. Kyochi frowned slightly, and used chakra to perceive the surroundings again, but it was still the same as before. There were only the two teams, and no extra breath could be sensed. But Chakra perception may not be accurate. Mist Shinobi hides in the bottom of the water and restrains chakra, so it is difficult to detect by means of perception, let alone Kirigakure and the most demonic ghost lamp family. The hydration technique of this family is not the limit of the blood succession, but it is better than the blood succession. It is impossible to feel it when the body is transformed, and it is very difficult to find it. Kyochi frowned, unable to do anything for a moment. He looked. 2 teams of 8 people couldn't make up a single lightning-style ninja. Numb. I should have borrowed Kakashi if I knew it earlier. But the thought just flashed by. Now Kakashi is probably stimulated by some words in the Chunin exam, and he is now in a rebellious period. If you talk to him, you will either suffer cold violence or stab you. Forget it anyway. Lightning-style ninjas are not necessary to deal with the Ghost Lamp clan. Don't you just have a blade of the Thunder Spirit? Not to mention. And sealing. He pondered for a moment and said, let's look around first to see if there are any omissions, so we can have a meeting to discuss it later. Yes. Bai Yun's attitude was very correct in the morning. He comes from Anbu, so he is naturally firmly on the side of 3rd generation. 3rd generation says that Kyochi is a conductor, so he treats Kyochi as a conductor, and his behavior is strict without any disrespect. The 2 teams spread out to search, but at Kyochi's orders, they were not too far apart from each other. Bai Yun was among them in the early morning and could rush to help everyone at any time. As for Kyochi, he was on the order, and, this trip, Kyochi didn't wear a Jonin vest, but a homely outfit, which didn't look much different from ordinary Chunin and Genin. When he first left the team, he even wore a mask, and with silver hair, he looked like an enlarged version of Kakashi. Bai Yun looked at it in the morning, and he probably understood what Kyochi wanted to do in his heart. Fishing. While the odds are slim, it's always good to try. Kyochi thought so too. Anyway, it doesn't matter if it can be done or not. Certainly. He didn't forget to pretend. The station was relatively close to everyone at the beginning, but gradually deviated from the team and moved closer to the river. Mist Shinobi likes to hide in the water. Real fishing. Kyochi's perception is fully open, and he is always aware of the chakra fluctuations around him. Walked a long way along the river. Suddenly, there was a subtle fluctuation in the river water. Almost imperceptible. But Kyochi's knowledge of water style is very deep, coupled with his strong perception, he captured this wave in an instant. No one around. The Ghost Lamp clan. Without hesitation, he quickly closed the seal, and the next moment. Earth-style earth flow wall. 2 walls rose from both ends of the river, directly blocking the river temporarily. His hands almost turned into phantoms, and behind the wall of soil flow, there was another series of seals in an instant. Earth flow city wall. Bounded by 2 earthen walls, this section of the river rises from the riverbed in the surrounding land, and is isolated from the river on both sides. Oh my god, Might Guy was dumbfounded when he saw this scene from afar. This earth style. It's too exaggerated. What are you doing in a daze, support? Asuma ran for a while, saw the boy staying there, and quickly shouted from a distance. Only then did Might Guy come back to his senses. Kyochi put his hand in the soil, feeling the situation of this section, and then, his eyes fixed, chakra flowed out from the palm and melted into the soil, and then stretched, hardening the entire riverbed in the form of a soil spear. This is a usage he developed. Not very practical, but very suitable for the moment. Just now he sensed that the other party seemed to want to get out of the bottom of the river. Wow. A water splash. Kyochi formed a seal again, and a black rain fell, drenching the surroundings. Fire style, wind style. Yes. Shisui rushed over in an instant. The seal was completed on the wall and in the air. Next moment, a huge great fireball gushed out from his mouth. Asuma couldn't make it in time. However, Bai Yun arrived at this time in the early morning, and Jia Yin opened his mouth to spit out great breakthrough. Wind, flames, black oil. The top of the Tuliu city wall was shrouded in a sea of flames, and the scorching fire could not be blocked even by water. The river evaporated and steamed. This kid wants to evaporate all the water? Where did the pervert come from? Ghost Lantern Shinjing cursed inwardly. He quickly used water-style ninjutsu. However, as the water rose, the earth walls around him also rose. Although it was protected for a while, black oil and fire floated on the water, burning the pool extremely hot. It's no way to go on like this. He finally couldn't hide, jumped out and fled in the direction of no one, with a hot flame still burning on his body. Part of the black oil adhered to him, and it couldn't be extinguished even if it was hydrated. Body flicker technique. High speed. No wonder you dare to stay here. Kyochi sneered. High speed? I am faster. Open the door, open. The next moment, he drew his sword and turned into a flowing shadow. Secret sword Moonshadow. At the same time, there is also the technique of drawing swords. The two are combined into one, drawing the knife, dodging, and chopping. All in one go. So fast, can't avoid it at all. Ghost Lamp Chikaja's head went blank. This brat. Why can it be so fast? All he could think of was the hydration technique. However, the moment he cast the hydration technique and his body was not fully hydrated, the sword cut his arm. Next second. Rolling lightning spread from the blade of the sword. In an instant, he was paralyzed and unable to move. His half-hydrated body immediately froze and became strange. At this time, on the distant sea, a big wave rolled along the river. It's not waves, it's exploding water and rushing waves. The billowing water waves rushed in. Once the Ghost Lantern Thousand scenery fell into the waves, even if Wang came, it would be impossible to catch it again. Kyochi didn't speak. His sword stuck to Chikaja's body to prevent him from transforming again, and then grabbed him with one hand and ran away from the water. During the process, he has been using chakra absorption. Damn. Save me, this guy is sucking my chakra. Ghost Lantern Chinjing was in a hurry. Although hydration technique consumes very little chakra, it is not without consumption. If Kyochi sucks his chakra to the point where he can only survive, it will be really cool. Trash. Let you go astray and stay. A figure came riding the waves. Light green hair, a long hook in his hand. Bai Yunzao and Shisui rushed forward immediately, trying to restrain their opponents, but just when they were in front of them, Yagura stretched out his hand, and a water mirror emerged. Water mirror. Kyochi immediately thought of the other party's identity. Citrus Yagura. Avoid that mirror, it might be weird. He quickly reminded. But, it's too late. 4 figures rushed out, rushing towards the opponent like a mirror image. Yagura used this moment to break through the defense. The other party, Jonin, is obviously a wind-style ninja. Instead of wasting Chakra's use of the Mist Shinobi technique, he directly formed a mudra and opened his mouth to spit out boundless water. The water formed a huge water prison, trapping the few people who rushed over. Big explosion water rush wave. However, when he finished this side, he found that Kyochi had also done it. There is still chakra, but his whole body is covered with scrolls, and black spells appear on the scrolls. It seems that he knows it is a very clever sealing technique. Not only that. On the side, a Katsuyu that was much bigger than a human appeared, wrapping the sealed ghost lamp Chinjing in it. What the hell? Sealing technique and summoning technique are all arranged. Can you be more outrageous? With so many means, the ghost can be saved. Yagura cursed secretly in his heart, and directly gave up on the rescue plan. It's useless to fight for a long time. At this moment, when the big waves of explosive water and waves rolled in, he used the water-style technique to go along with the trend, and he had no intention of entanglement with Kyochi and others at all. Compared with killing people, it is obviously more important to bring information back. Especially that young ninja. And, the next moment, Bai Yun swung his sword early. Wind-style swordsmanship sliced across the water dungeon, directly creating a vacuum. Follow closely. 5 people escaped from the water prison. Yagura didn't dare to linger, remembered Kyochi's appearance and ran away at full speed. Baiyun Morning and the others were not good at water style, so they managed to escape, but Yagura had already gone with the water. The water prison is scattered. In Baiyun's hiding room in the morning, they couldn't even sense Yagura's breath. Stop chasing. Kyochi called everyone to stop. The current Yagura is not Jinchuriki, but all kinds of water-style ninjutsu are still very powerful, and they can't stop them at all if they just want to run. Furthermore, who knows how many Mist Shinobi ninjas there are in the sea? In case of an accident, I am afraid that the ghost lamp Chinjing in my hand will also be lost, and that is not worth the loss. Yes. Shiranui Genma and Yuhi Hong gathered around Kyochi first. Hong stared at Katsuyu with envy in her eyes. The same style as Tsunade, and so gentle. She wanted it so badly. Don't look, this guy belongs to the Ghost Lamp family. It doesn't matter whether it's memory or physique, it's worth studying. Protecting this guy is the most important thing. Kyochi stroked her hair. Oh, Kurenai Yuhi responded, but her eyes were still fixed on Katsuyu. The live slug thought it was interesting, so he separated a little one to climb on top of her and started playing with her. But this is also safe. Kurenai Yuhi and Genma have been guarding around Kyochi just now, full of vigilance. Instead, the other four. Senior in the morning is Jonin. Even if he is in danger, he can save himself. What's the use of you catching up and eliminating the chaos? After the Chunin exam, they all drifted away, right? Kyoshi glanced around. Although among the 6 children, only Might Guy has never been his student, but Kyoshi is friendly with Might Dai and belongs to Might Guy's elder level, so it is only natural to teach him a lesson. So, the 4 of Shisui bowed their heads, not daring to refute half a sentence. They really think about it. If Baiyun hadn't protected the 4 of them in the morning, he would have caught up and killed Yagura. Forget it. Kyoshi Jonin, it's their first time to participate in a battle of this level, and it's normal to have some discomfort. Baiyun spoke for the children in the morning. Afterwards, he looked at Katsuyu, frowned slightly and said, I didn't expect even the ghost lanterns to fight. It seems that Mist Shinobi still doesn't give up. The ninja just now may not have a low status. Kyoshi nodded. As the 4th Mizukage, Yagura's status is definitely not low at the moment, and he may even be the leader of this infiltration intelligence collection. It's a good thing you caught him. When Baiyun said this in the morning, he felt sincere admiration from the bottom of his heart. As Anbu, he knows the power of the Ghost Lamp clan best. Except for lightning style, which can restrain them a little before they are fully hydrated, other ninjutsu is almost useless. Kyoshi did it this time. Earth style separates a place, and then roasts it with fire. The Ghost Lantern Thousand Scenes can't escape at all, and can only show a human shape. Certainly. And that sword, Sword of Thor. 3rd generation is really important, but if he is the 3rd generation, he will be so highly valued. There are really not many characters who can carry the tripod in Konoha nowadays. You guys arrived first, have you confirmed the information exchange point? Temporarily on the side of Nagano Mountain. Walk. On the border of the country of water, on an island in the sea. Yagura went ashore wearily. My lord, what's the matter? That idiot Ghost Lantern Chikage has been arrested. We must hurry up and make a plan for the next step. In addition, next, pay attention to a ninja who is about 15 or 16 years old, has silver hair and a sword, and is very strong in water style and earth style. Yagura said indifferently. Some of them know lightning style? A ninja with a knife frowned and asked. He is Ghost Lamp Thousand Blades. User of Flounder. No, that's impossible. Without lightning style, and the environment by the river, even if you meet the Hyuga clan, you can run away. It's impossible to be captured alive. Ghost Lamp Shinba did not believe it. It should be a weapon, or, that ninja also has the lightning style ability. Yagura frowned. He was far away and couldn't see clearly at the time. Afterwards, he briefly described the situation, and Ghost Lamp Qian Ren also shut up with an ugly expression. This idiot. He cursed and was in a bad mood. Listen to this description. That young ninja is really good. Not only was he able to discover the Ghost Lamp Chikage in the hydration state, but he also instantly thought of a countermeasure, using earth-style ninjutsu to isolate the river from its surroundings. And they also know how to suck chakra and sealing techniques, and they are so fast that the Ghost Lamp Chinjing can't react in time. Even if they have 7 swords, they can only do 1 or 2 at this speed. What's the background of that guy? Although Ghost Lamp Qian Ren was arrogant, he didn't dare to underestimate him at all. By the way, his summoning beast is very similar to Konoha Tsunade's. Yagura digs into the memory and thinks of another key point. Katsuyu. Must be a relative of Tsunade. Ghost Lamp Qianren's face was serious, then grinned at the corner of his mouth, and said cruelly. I heard that 2 relatives of Tsunade have died, should we take action together and kill this one too? You mean the Senju clan who don't know where to go? Maybe. If so, is it possible that he is the leader of Konoha's Eastern Front? What Yagura cares about is this. Collect information first to make sure. Before that, you can't act rashly. Let's see what's going on in the other 2 ninja villages. Ghost Lamp Chiba followed Yagura's words and said, then let him live for a while. It happens that the 7 swordsmen haven't gathered yet, so we go and kill him together. Yagura nodded with a smile on his lips. It seems. The death of Ghost Lantern Chinjing may not necessarily be of no benefit. The Land of Fire, Mount Nagano. Might Guy, who is strong and fast, has been dispatched first to report and assemble, while Kyoshi and Baiyunzao act together with the other 5 to protect them. After all, the Ghost Lamp clan is on the move. As long as there is water in the east of the Kingdom of Fire, it is not safe, unless they enter the surrounding area of the camp. There are ninjas of the Hyuga clan in the camp, and although the Ghost Lamp clan can avoid ordinary perception methods, they cannot hide their chakra. So, At the foot of Mount Nagano, Kyochi breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the patrol team. Hong, you take everyone up the mountain, and the live slugs will follow you, and Senior Morning and I will go first. Kyochi turned around and told Kurenai Yuhi, she is Chunin. Kyochi, leave early in the morning, she has the highest position, so naturally she will call the shots. The others nodded in unison. Walk. Kyochi's speed increased abruptly. In the blink of an eye, he took the ghost lamp Qingjing in the sealed state and headed for the mountain together with Bai Yunzao. The camp is located away from the water, obviously. Konoha shinobi people are also afraid of the ghost lamp family, fearing that the ghost lamp family will use secret techniques to explode the water veins and sneak attack, so they chose this place carefully. Kyochi-sama, Morning-sama, Elite Chunin, who was guarding the camp, greeted the two immediately, then pointed to the camp and said, Jonin, who is currently around the camp, is already waiting in the tent. Okay, thank you. Kyochi enters with ghost lamp Shikage. There are not many Jonin in the tent, there are only 5, but Kyochi has basically met them when teaching the breathing activation technique before. The most familiar one is Tsukiko Kazuki, and the highest status is Yamanaka Haichi. Senior Hai, I didn't expect you to be here. Kyochi greeted hurriedly. You're welcome. This time you are the commander. The third generation asked me to come to help you with the information. Yamanaka smiled softly. Now he is young and looks much more handsome than in anime. Kyochi understands. Yamanaka Hai is the captain of the Konoha analysis team. He has outstanding strength and high status. He is an intelligence expert in the ninja world. If it was not for helping himself, third generation would not have sent him here. Exactly. It's great that you're here. He belongs to the Ghost Lamp family. I searched for it with the seniors in the early morning. Oh? You were able to kill the Ghost Lamp clan. Yamanaka was surprised. The Ghost Lamps have the hydration technique, they are not afraid of ordinary attacks at all, and it is difficult to find common perception methods, which makes Konoha a headache, otherwise he would not have sent many Hyuga people to come with him. Result. Kyochi put the person down, he felt it carefully, his face was full of astonishment. Not dead, still alive. How did you do that? Yamanaka was unbelievable this time. Killing is nothing. As long as the Ghost Lamp family is discovered, they can always be killed with some means, but it is not easy to capture them alive. After careful observation, he found that the magic formulas engraved on Ghost Lantern Qingjing's body were all high-end sealing techniques such as the 4-element seal. Good guy. This kid also knows the sealing technique. Human energy is limited. Generally speaking, it is difficult for ordinary people to take care of many aspects at the same time. And what about Kyochi? Swordsmanship, taijutsu, water style, earth style, illusion, medical ninjutsu. Now there is another sealing technique. And are there areas where he's not a grandmaster? Hai Yi was silently speechless. Hey, how do you do it? This, just caught it like this, with everyone's cooperation, it's not too difficult. Kyochi didn't elaborate. Trapped with earth style, and then the opponent got up, and was killed by him in seconds. There is nothing to say. Yamanaka was stunned for a moment, but quickly came back to his senses, and said seriously, it's better to live. Call the sealing team first, move him to a safe and proper place, and then I will slowly obtain the information in his mind. Beware of suicide. Kyochi reminded. Ha ha ha, don't worry, I'm a professional in this area. Yamanaka smiled. In terms of combat, he feels that he is far inferior to Kyochi Kanda, but when it comes to torture information, he claims to be second, and no one in Konoha would dare to say first. Yamanaka left the tent as soon as he led the people. The Ghost Lamp clan is a big clan of Kirigakure. Every member of the Ghost Lantern tribe must have a lot of information in their minds. They had no chance to obtain a living and complete Ghost Lantern tribe member before, so how could they not cherish it after finally catching one? Yamanaka left as soon as he left. There was silence in the tent. Baiyun was thinking about the previous situation in the morning, while the others. It's all wood. Kyochi had shown his own strength when he taught breathing activation before, so they didn't underestimate the youngest Jonin in Konoha and the leader of the command. But even so, they still didn't expect that Kyochi would be able to catch a big one when he first arrived. The Ghost Lamp family. This is probably the first Ghost Lantern clansman captured alive, right? The cover is required to be replaced. Hinata, my Hinata. Master Kyochi, I really admire you. This is the Ghost Lamp family. How did you do it? Moonlight Kazuki couldn't hold back his curiosity. Hayate was saved by Kyochi, so he yelled, Master, without conflict. With the help of the seniors in the morning, otherwise it would not be so easy to catch. Kyochi smiled. Bai Yun blushed in the morning, waved his hand and said, "Where? I used a great breakthrough from the beginning to the end." Master Kyochi found a trace of fluctuation in him regardless of the danger, and directly locked the position with Earth Style, and then struck him with a sword. The opponent is paralyzed. Earth Style? A sword? The three Jonins nearby looked at each other. Use Earth Style to lock the location of the Ghost Clansmen. There is a picture. The theory is feasible, but the Ghost Lanterns are not fools, so it is impossible to stay there and wait for Kyochi to catch them. This shows that Kanda Kyochi is very fast in making seals and drawing swords. It was almost too late for the other party to react. Also, the Sword of Thunder God. Everyone is Jonin, and a few words can reverse most of them. The four secretly admired each other. Instead they. Even with the blade of the Thunder Spirit, it might be difficult to catch the Ghost Lanterns. By the way, in addition to the Ghost Lanterns, we also encountered a mist shinobi ninja with light green hair. Does anyone know his identity? I suspect that he may be one of the leaders of this invasion. Kyochi said in a deep voice. Light green hair? Yu Guang Kazuki frowned, recalled for a long time, eyes lit up and said, I remember, it seems to be Yugura. I don't know the last name, but it should be a big man. I heard that third Mizukage had a physical problem these years, and he rarely came forward, and many things were left to one of his subordinates. Baiyun Morning is not in Anbu now. But before this year, he has been to many places, and Kirigakure is naturally indispensable. If so, it may be him. Kyochi said in a low voice. No wonder the strength is so strong. Bai Yun nodded in the morning. Afterwards, he told about Yugura's attempt to save Ghost Lantern Chikage. After Yu Guang Kazuki and the others heard this, their expressions suddenly became serious. This kind of strength. At least elite Jonin. Kyochi's suspicions are likely. Let's wait for the information from Senior Hai first. After Kyochi thought about it, he didn't bother anymore. It is useless to think too much. At present, they don't know the opponent's stronghold. Even if they tell their identity, it's useless, not to mention that it's not convenient for him to say Yugura's identity and specific strength. Everyone nodded after listening. Hai was very fast, and he hurried in after a while. Dig out a lot. It's a big guy. Hai was very excited. How to say? Kyochi stood up immediately. This man's name is Ghost Light Chikage, and his big brother Ghost Light Thousand Blade is the user of Ninja Sword 7. In addition, the other person you are fighting with is Yugura, who is a strong competitor for the next generation of Mizukage. During this time, Kirigakure's affairs have been handled by him, and he is very strong. However, the Ghost Clan also wants to compete for the position of 4th Mizukage, so some people from the Ghost Clan and the 7 Ninja Swords don't listen to Yugura's words. Hai slowly explained the information he had unearthed so far. After everyone listened, all of them looked solemn. If they search for this information slowly, they may lose many spies, and they may not be able to know it. Now that they have captured a living Ghost Lamp family, they will know everything. Really. The Ghost Lamp family still knows many secrets. Kyochi pondered for a moment, then clapped his hands and said, It's broken. I caught Chikage, and the other party had an early warning. Yugura went back to put pressure, and the 7 people would probably obey his orders. No way, we don't arrest people, how do we know the information? Hai shook his head, he knew what Kyochi meant. If the 7 of them didn't obey the command, they might go into trouble and end up going crazy and killing themselves. But now that there is an extra powerful enemy like Kyochi who can capture the Ghost Clansmen alive, the result is completely different. Kyochi can only sigh. He and Hai don't mean the same thing. With the current situation, the 7 swordsmen of ninja swords would not sneak in like in the anime. He was wondering if it was possible to ambush the 7 swordsmen in one pot. He sighed, and then said, Senior Hai, did they retreat because they found us? Hai nodded. That's right, it's no wonder that many details and traces have not been processed, if I hurry up. Right on. Bai Yun slapped his thigh angrily in the morning. As long as there is a ninja with strong perception in the team, his team may have a chance to intercept the opponent. Nehi feels the strongest as himself. What a half-baked guy. With the strength shown by Yugura, if you really want to catch up, it may not be a good thing. Kyochi shook his head. Baiyun is very strong in the morning, but what about the others? The big explosion rushed over and dealt with Might Guy and the others first, but Baiyun had nothing to do in the morning. After all, the other party is the heir of Shadow, and it is simply unrealistic to think of accomplishing all of his merits in one battle. By the way, let me deliver the information scroll. I can ask the live slug to help and hand it directly to Miss Tsunade. Is there such a good thing? How could Yamanaka not agree? Information transmission is risky, but through summoning beast, the risk is almost zero. It's too late for him to be happy. Afterwards, Hai understood. No wonder Kyochi was appointed as the conductor. In addition to Kyochi's strong strength and flexible mind, there is another important reason, Tsunade-ji. This is paving the way for Tsunade. After all, judging from the current situation, Lord Third Generation may already have the intention of resigning, and the best choice must be Tsunade, the granddaughter of First Generation and apprentice of Third Generation. Origin, status, qualifications and prestige are all the most qualified. Kyochi knew he couldn't hide it. As soon as Yamanaka appeared in the anime, he showed extremely high wisdom. Those who engage in intelligence, how can their brains not be alive? He got the scroll, summoned Katsuyu Avatar, and let the live slug help to twist the information. This matter is very familiar. When everyone saw the summoning beast of the same style as Tsunade, and thought that Kyochi's medical ninjutsu was also extremely high, their hearts moved again. Katsuyu technique. As soon as Hai thought of Kyochi's performance in the second Chunin exam, he asked directly, Master Kyochi, how effective is your Katsuyu technique? The duration should not be short. It should be able to cover within 3 kilometers around me. I can't tell how long it will be and how effective it is. In addition, I have a secret technique that can absorb chakra, but the conversion rate is currently only 1/3, the rate not fast either. Kyochi thought about it, and explained some of his situation. About Katsuyu, medical ninjutsu has been spread in Konoha. There is no need to hide it, and it can convince everyone. As everyone knows, his information shocked Yamanaka Hai. Hai Yiban thought that Kyochi had only mastered a small range, and the duration was not long. Result. This effect, although not as good as Tsunade, is quite amazing. Not to mention, Kyochi also has the ability to absorb chakra. Even if the conversion rate is only 1/3, but in the battlefield, the effect of this ability is amazing. Old man, a piece of information has been sent over there. Tsunade naturally did not dare to neglect when he got the information. The Ghost Lamp family. The status of this family in Mist Shinobi is the same as that of Uchiha, Senju, and Hyuga in Konoha, and most of the people in this family can use hydration technique. Whether this technique is strong or not is a matter of opinion, but disgusting is really disgusting, very slippery, and never catches alive. Because the ghost lanterns are only afraid of lightning style. And I am afraid of lightning style, not because lightning style can restrain the hydration technique, but because lightning style can paralyze the opponent, making the opponent suspend the spell and cannot fully hydrate. The Ghost Lamp family obviously understands very well. So, if you encounter weak lightning style ninjas, kill them, and if you encounter weak lightning style ninjas, run away. Except for lightning style ninjas, illusion can have some effect on them, but the effect will not be too great. In addition, the Ghost Lamp family has many secret techniques. So if you want to catch it, there is only one possibility. Possess the lightning style ability and crush the opponent with strength, making the opponent unable to run away and unable to react. Too harsh, but she didn't expect that Kyochi did it. After reading Third Generation, the cigarette rod fell to the ground with a thud. Seeing that there was a crack in the rod, the old man would have been so distressed, but at this time, he didn't pay attention at all. Capture alive. This is too difficult. After a long time, Third Generation exhaled. His face was serious. I've heard of Yagura, a citrus orange. It looks small, but I didn't expect it to be the most likely successor to the 4th generation. Teacher, now is not the time to be emotional. The 3 kingdoms all want to attack us. At this time, we can't hesitate at all. First catch a family and beat him up. Tsunade said firmly. Third Generation hesitated a bit. Take the initiative to attack. Is it too bold? He pondered for a moment and said, is it too risky? Right now Kirigakure is still hesitating and waiting for an opportunity to see the attitude of Cloud Shinobi Village and Iwagakure. Although we have made arrangements in advance, we will be passive when they start to do it. Tsunade got angry when he saw the old man like this, so he didn't want to come back. He hesitated. How could he have the charm of the past? The courage to make a decision on forbidden technique before. Third Generation thought for a while, finally took a deep breath and said, Kirigakure's internal vacillations are indeed the easiest side to fight. On Mist Shinobi's side, you can discuss with Kyochi, and I will stand up for anything. The guards let them bring some elites to the eastern front, the north let Minato be the leader. Onogi has Jiraiya, and as for Orochimaru, I asked that kid to send Chikage. Tsunade acted swiftly and quickly made a decision. It is good, third generation nodded. Decision-making is okay, although some decisions are risky, but it is better than indecision. In short, the policy is, beat Kirigakure first. As for the study of Ghost Lamp Thousand Views, everyone does this kind of thing, so Hyuga made a caged bird. What is the name of the hydration technique of the Ghost Lamp family? At present, no one knows except the Ghost Lamp family. How can we let go of the experimental materials? But it's time to hurry up, lest Mist Shinobi send someone back to redeem him. Master Hokage wrote back and asked us to discuss it ourselves. In addition, if all the information on the Ghost Lamp Chikage is discovered, we will send people to Konoha. Kyoshi recounted the village's decision. Yamanaka's face was weird when he heard it, but he felt relieved again. Of course he understands. This is not third generation style. According to the style of third generation, it is easy to fall into the trap of taking the initiative to attack, so you must take a look first. This is Tsunade style. Act resolutely and go straight. What are you looking at? All the intruders were captured by them, and Yugura, who is suspected to be the leader of the other party, has appeared, so there is nothing to say at all. Just hit it. This is what Tsunade means. Kyoshi thinks so too. People are bullying their heads. What are you waiting for? Wait for the other party to contact Cloud Shinobi Village, Iwagakure. Yamanaka passed on the information. Master Kyoshi, what do you think? He frowned suddenly. There are too few people. The scattered teams came back one after another, but there were still only 10 teams in total. Recently, Cloud Shinobi Village was restless, and many people were drawn to the northeast. East, Tsunade speaks loudly, but it's useless. A smart woman can't cook without rice. Hai Yi called himself an adult. This is for saving face. Kyoshi knew it in his heart, so he didn't hold it. Hai Yi asked and answered. Master Tsunade intends to let the guards send elites over, but it will take 2 or 3 days. The guard. That's fine, then let's wait. Hai nodded. Uchiha Guard. Tsunade is worthy of being one of the Sannin, and it is safe to dispatch troops. However, during this period of time, I don't plan to be idle. I'm going to find their base lair. Kyoshi grinned. All of you here are Jonin, who have seen many wars, and instantly understand Kyoshi's intentions in their minds. Do you want to prevent them from moving? Yes, at least so they can't move away comfortably. Kyoshi nods. If you wait for Uchiha, I am afraid that the building will be empty by now, and the information will be wasted. Too dangerous. Yamanaka frowned, not because he was stubborn and unable to change, but because there were only a dozen or so Jonin, and about 30 Jonin together. What about Kirigakure? A lot of. Strength is not a level at all. We're not head to head. We can fight if we can, and run if we can't. So I don't plan to bring too many people. Those who go with us must be assassinated by the Grand Master and run fast. Kyoshi said. Use the knowledge learned in the previous life to go deep into the enemy's rear to fight guerrillas. In addition to strategy, intelligence is also important. After Kyoshi thought about it, he asked, are there any fast ones in the Hyuga clan? High speed. This is a hard condition. Of course there is. Hyuga clan ninja replied immediately, it must be of this level. As Kyoshi said, using the body flicker technique alone, he went from inside the house to a place far outside in the blink of an eye. This Hyuga, especially Jonin, got stuck. So fast. Only Hizashi-sama can do it. Kyoshi didn't mean to target, so this guy just replied weakly, then bowed his head and didn't speak anymore. Hyuga froze, and those who were good at scouting didn't dare to make a sound. Everyone knows the importance of intelligence work. In the war, there are no diamonds, and no porcelain work. The opponent is a Kirigakure ninja, pretending to be a big deal. Kyoshi turned around, and finally his eyes fell on Yamanaka Hai, hesitated for a moment, and said with a smile, otherwise, are you tired and crazy with me? You know you're crazy too? Hai rolled his eyes. But he didn't refuse directly, but said, let's talk about your plan first. It's very simple. Aren't they going to move? We will eat the logistics troops who move. When the small troops come, we will eat them. When the big troops come, we will run away. Kyoshi is simple and straightforward. I'm leaving. What about the base? I keep my clone here. I know how to absorb chakra, so Shadow Clone still needs to absorb some chakra later. I hope everyone can help. Kyoshi thought everything out. When the others heard this, the corners of their mouths twitched. This plan. It seems to be quite reliable, but I always feel that something is not right. Not fast enough to be a chakra reserve? Candidates? Yamanaka pondered for a moment, and continued to ask the next question. You, the moonlight in the tree, the white clouds in the morning. What about me? I can do it too, Might Dai hurriedly said. Talking about other things, he may not be confident, but when it comes to speed, Might Dai thinks he can't lose to everyone, including Kyochi. He didn't dare to stand out before, because he didn't know how good he was. As far as Kyochi knows, it's obviously a strong man, born with a cowardly look. But now it is different. Special Jonin. After dealing with the Jonins, he also understood his general strength, and his confidence came up. Senior Dai, I'm familiar with you, so I'll tell you straight away. Of course, your strength and speed are great, but when I go to make trouble here, I pay attention to orders and prohibitions, and act according to the situation. You are still a little bit worse in this regard. Just another way of describing it. Might Dai is strong enough, but his brains and tactical flexibility are also given preferential treatment, making it easy to get stuck in a fight. This is fighting guerrilla warfare, not fighting to the death. There is really no need to bring him. Might Dai was disappointed when he heard this, but he also understood what Kyochi meant. He had always been a genin before, doing only D-level tasks such as farming and carrying water, and had few battles. This kind of flexible combat is really not suitable for me. He didn't ask for more. Master Kyochi, how did you catch the ghost Chikage? And this battle, can you teach me more about it? Hyuga Fuji asked. Kyochi couldn't help but glanced at him, and felt a burst of emotion in his heart. Why does Hyuga have a good relationship with Konoha? The branch house got a lot of points. Most of the clansmen in these branch houses are not proud of looking up to the sky, but speak based on their strength. They will respect you if you have the ability, and they are very strict with outsiders in themselves. Seeing everyone's curiosity, Kyochi pondered for a moment and said, it's not about teaching, and to put it bluntly, it's nothing special. My earth style is faster than his water style, and my sword is faster than his instant body and stand-in. At first glance, everyone feels that this product is showing off. But, thinking about it carefully, I feel that Kyochi is completely telling the truth. Isn't that so? As long as you are faster than the opponent, you can naturally use the restraint relationship to restrain it. Otherwise, even if you know the lightning-style restraint hydration technique, it will be useless. They secretly admired it in their hearts. The Ghost Lamp family has not been out of the country of water for quite a long time, and there are very few people in Kyochi's generation who have seen the hydration technique. Kyochi has done enough homework to know this information. The appointment of Lord Third Generation does not really depend on relationship. Then what you're talking about? You can fight well, but you can't run away. Literally, fight if you can. If you can't run, if the opponent wants to chase, then hang on. Wait until the opponent's formation and state go wrong before fighting. When they want to run, we will chase. Kyochi smiled when he said this. This strategy is most suitable for dealing with mist shinobi ninjas. If you change the other two countries, you will have other troubles. Oh? What's that saying? Yamanaka became interested as soon as he came. He heard that what Kyochi said was wonderful, and was about to spread it to the other two fronts, but Kyochi seemed to have thought of it earlier. Master Hai, the reason is very simple. We may not be able to escape Cloud Shinobi Village. Iwagakure's Onoki is very difficult to deal with. If we encounter it, we may not be able to escape. This time without Kyochi's teaching, Bai Yun coughed lightly in the morning and continued to speak. He was of Anbu origin and quickly understood the essence. Kyochi was speechless. What a great educational opportunity. It's a pity that the students are so good at answering. In addition to this, their earth style can change the terrain on a large scale, and is good at making traps, ambushes, and explosions, which is not easy to deal with. Kyochi explained part of it, but didn't say the other part. He was mainly worried that Iwagakure would do the same thing, and bombing each other would get no one's favor. Compare. Mist Shinobi is the least threatening here. The battle at sea will not affect the construction. Even if Kirigakure suffers a lot of losses, the Land of Water will maintain a certain degree of rationality, so as not to lose their minds and exchange one with them to the limit. Understood. Lord Kyochi, when shall we leave then? Let's have dinner first and leave in the afternoon. After Kyochi finished speaking, he threw a shadow clone in the tent, and summoned Katsuyu, making it split into more than a dozen, and scattered them among the sentient ninjas including Hyuga Vine and Kyochi. We will go to attack in the afternoon. All of your reconnaissance team will conduct reconnaissance and patrolling. If you have any news, communicate immediately. Yes. Hyuga Fuji looked serious, including Yamanaka stood up straight and dared not be casual. This kind of combat information is too important. If you encounter a battle within 3 kilometers, please explain the situation. My avatar will heal everyone, but when the time comes, I hope that the seniors who stayed in the camp will dispatch and help more. Kyoshi didn't say it directly, but everyone understood. Provide chakra. Although it's weird, it's all for the sake of the partner, so there's nothing to say. Kyoshi will not intervene in the follow-up arrangement of Nagano-san. He is not professional in this aspect, and intervening will cause jokes. But, have to say, after he made a plan, everyone knew that Kirigakure was nothing more than that. Outside the tent, Yuhihong and the others stayed with the Might Guy team. You said, what is our task in the afternoon? Asuma's heart itched. Although he played a game just now, he didn't have any sense of participation at all, and he was still empty-handed, wishing he could fight someone right away. Although Shisui and Yuhihong didn't say anything, they also wanted to do big things in their hearts. Only Might Guy. He looked at his friends, and stayed there silently, feeling quite depressed. Seeing them talk more and more vigorously, Might Guy said, there will be nothing to us in the afternoon. This is a war, and people will die. Usually the seniors are on the outside, and we are inside. Why? Asuma froze, feeling a sense of disillusionment. Don't you talk about the will of fire all day long? Might Guy didn't respond after he finished speaking. What he didn't say was, in his last team, everyone died except him and Mr. Jonin, and the leader of the team, Mr. Jonin, was seriously injured. The battlefield is not as simple as they thought. According to the original intention of the first generation in Nidem, you should not be able to enter the battlefield until you are 12 years old. The Lord of the third generation has already made a decision against the ancestors, so how can you allow you to go to the periphery? A voice sounded. Everyone stood up immediately, only to see that Kyoshi had reached the tree above them at some point. The next moment, several trees also flew by. Kyoshi came up to them. Teacher. I have a solo mission in the afternoon. You 2 teams will discuss with Senior Dai together. Yes. Asuma and the others have a lot of ideas, but there is one thing that reassures Kyoshi. They will definitely listen to what they say. Yu Hahong looked at the camp and asked, Teacher, are you going to take the initiative? Hey, the little girl already knows how to analyze, that's right, I won't ask you to point them out. Kyoshi likes to tease Kurenai Yuhi very much. Because her reaction was very interesting, like now she frowned and turned her head away, but the corners of her brows couldn't hide the smile, which was completely different from the mature her in the anime. Teacher, where are you going this afternoon? Asuma asked in a low voice. I don't have a chance to fight, but it's okay to satisfy my curiosity, right? Others are also itchy. This, really curious. 6 pairs of eyes stared at himself. Kyoshi couldn't help but smiled and said, originally, as a conductor, these are confidential and I can't disclose them, but these information will become outdated soon, so I will test you. As he spoke, he told them part of the information. The 6 listened carefully. Then, their eyes widened in surprise. They even dug out the temporary stronghold of Kirigakure ninjas in the sea. It's not easy. Senior Hiei is here, so it's not difficult to dig out these. Kyoshi explained a bit. Yuhihong suddenly realized. She had heard of Yamanaka Haichi's name before, and he could be called the top leader of Konoha intelligence, very powerful. Shisui thought for a moment, then said, Sensei is going to attack their base? Guess. There is a prize for guessing right. Kyoshi said with a smile. The 6 of them were speechless together. Teacher Kyoshi's bad taste is coming again, but they have really thought about it. Might Guy clapped his hands suddenly, with an excited expression on his face. Everyone looked over instantly, even Kyoshi was a little surprised, but the next moment, Guy said, I see, teacher must be planning to kill them directly. It's my fault for expecting from you. Kyoshi said silently from the bottom of his heart. He looked at the other 5. Shisui thought for a while and said, I just observed the number of people. There are at most a dozen teams in the mountain. If you attack with this strength, you will be easily surrounded by Miss Shinobi. Well, what then? Kyoshi was quite appreciative. Now Shisui has a lot of flexibility in his mind and is very satisfying in his work. Much better than the one in the anime. Shisui thought hard, then the corner of his mouth twitched, and then Asuma also showed a puzzled look. Just say it, be bold. Are you going to find an opportunity to assassinate the leader? Shisui considered the wording for a moment. Harassment and trouble are not suitable for the teacher's wise style, so he changed it to a better way of saying, in fact, he knows well that Kirigakure is not a fool. If someone is captured alive and you can find the leader, there are only 2 possibilities. The other party is really stupid. Either it is a trap, waiting for you to take the bait. Ha ha ha, it sounds nice, but it's actually just to make trouble. Kyochi patted Shisui on the shoulder, turning back. There will be elites from the guards coming over, and then the general offensive will begin. When you come back in the afternoon, I will teach you an illusion. Shisui's eyes lit up and he nodded repeatedly. Guard. That would be great. Okay, the disclosure is limited to these, and you don't go around talking about it, as long as you know it. Be safe these few days. Kyochi stood up. He talked about this, not for any reward. Actually, this time the reward is very general, just a water-style instant water. Not bad. However, it was a bit worse than expected. After all, he was facing Jonin. He knows why. In the eyes of outsiders, this kind of combat is more of harassment, with little real meaning, so no one thinks it is useful. It's time for lunch. Very plain and simple. Once the Bingliang pill is released, everyone will take one each, and it will be dealt with. The fire is easy to find the location. After dinner, the four set off. Knowing the location, the group of them were familiar with the road, and quickly approached the Kirigakure stronghold. When there was still a long way to go, the four of them lurked in the water. Senior Hai, I'm going to catch some fish, and you use secret techniques to control them to explore the way. It is good. The secret arts of the Yamanaka family are widely used, not only to control people, but also to manipulate animals to detect intelligence. Kyochi used instant water to escape quickly in the water. Not for a while, he caught 2 big fish. Yamanaka successfully controlled the avatars with his heart, and then manipulated them to swim towards the island, while the others followed slowly. Until very close to the location of the island. They stop. Kyochi uses sentience at the same time as Yamanaka. Not for a while. They both have goals. North, some of them have moved to the north. Around the periphery, Kyochi didn't hesitate. So dense, it must be a boat. It scuttled, regardless of whether people can be killed or not. The mist shinobi on board will have a heartache for a while. They went around the periphery and accelerated towards that side. Not long after, Hai's fish arrived first. A large ship, 4 teams, estimated to transport equipment. Hai reported back. Generally, ninjas eat military food pills. Even on islands, there is not much food storage, but instruments such as interrogation instruments and medical equipment are difficult to carry, and even some seal scrolls cannot accommodate them. This is also the meaning of stronghold, so. Shipped by ship, it must be a good thing. I'm going to scuttle it, you take your time. Kyochi used the transformation technique to disguise himself as a fish, and then quickly dashed there. On board. Takashita-kun, look around. It will be fine. There are not many people in Konoha here, so how dare you come here? Explore and be safe. Yes. Takashita didn't refute anymore, but closed his eyes to perceive his surroundings. After a while, a look of horror appeared on his face. Someone is approaching, very fast, be careful. Alert. With a loud shout, the whole ship was alerted, and 2 teams of ninjas quickly jumped out to surround Kyochi. Others quickly sealed off to protect the boat. But the next moment, a trace of panic flashed in the eyes of all the ninjas. In the distance, a jet of high-pressure water shot out from the sea, shot directly at the hull of the ship, and then swept across. Boom. The ship shattered and collapsed in an instant. What kind of technique is this? Their minds went blank. But in the next moment, they had time to think about it. Because, whoosh. What? With one stab, the 2 Chunins died instantly. Mist Shinobi Jonin felt that something was wrong, and there was a burst of golden cries from behind him. A knife. Wrong. He stood on his head covered in hairs, and the next second, thunder and lightning came from Kanai. Although he let go quickly, he was still paralyzed by lightning, and his entire right arm was numb, and then another knife cut across the middle, with a light cyan chakra attached to it. Wind-style swordplay. If you hit this knife, you will die. But his right hand was paralyzed and he couldn't make a mudra at all. He could only use physical skills to escape, and begged his teammates for help. Fortunately, the others were not idle. Takashita just came over in a flash, and his seal spat out water waves to interfere. But the next moment, the knife in Kyochi's left hand turned into a gust of wind. Vacuum sword. A sword. The water waves cut open, and the blood splashed. Mist Shinobi Jonin, die, at the same time. They arrived at Baiyun in the morning. Quick battle. As Kyochi said, he swung his sword and moved his fingers a few times. Takashita was in a trance. Illusion bubble. He dispelled the illusion in an instant, but when he recovered, what he saw were 3 knives approaching ultimate, as well as teammates rushing over. Kyoshi was not ambiguous, and when he made a mistake, 2 shadow clones appeared. Follow closely. The 2 clones seal and cast Water Dragon Bomb together. Boom. 2 water dragons rose up and bombed towards the middle. The Mist Shinobi ninjas resisted one after another, and the fog filled the air instantly. However, not only did their mist not help him, but what? 3 or 4 screams sounded. A Mist Shinobi had no expression on his face, and pulled out kunai to kill at a position in the fog. Afterwards, his eyes gradually changed, and his face was a bit confused. But there was no time for him to ponder. Because, in the fog, a knife appeared. Juhei cut. A simple sword with no bells and whistles, because the head has been sent to him by Yamanaka Hayi. Kyoshi felt the strength of the Yamanaka clan. This kind of secret technique is really a bit of a foul on the battlefield. After all, who would have thought that a trusted teammate one moment would suddenly stab himself in the next moment? Mist Shinobi was not prepared at all. Before the fog cleared completely, Bai Yunzao and Yuguang Kazuki had already killed the remaining Chunins and came to join Kyoshi. Kyoshi gestured. Bai Yun nodded in the morning and left immediately, while Kyoshi quickly sealed. Subsequently, ahead, the sea began to surge, forming a giant Uzumaki that engulfed everything around it. This is a small usage that Kyoshi pondered when he was researching the hard vortex water blade and high-pressure water-style Rasengan. It is not very useful, but it is very suitable for the current destruction of corpses. He left a clone to maintain Uzumaki, and the main body ran first. Although he was fast, he was not a flying thunder god teleporting, and it would be troublesome to wait until the opponent arrived. It's not that they can't run away, but they will leave some clues behind. After he left for more than 10 seconds, the Mist Shinobi ninja arrived here, seeing the wreckage all over the ground, and everyone was stunned. A team of 4 Chunin, just gone? Even chopping melons and vegetables, I am afraid it will take a few minutes. How is this possible? And the scene was in a mess, with many corpses mixed together, and it was impossible to tell what was going on at the scene. Obviously, the opponent cleaned up the scene professionally. This is the most angry. After riding a horse and killing people, there is still time to deal with the scene and destroy the corpses and traces. I didn't pay attention to the speed of Mist Shinobi's support, but as it turned out, they were really late. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost saw it, his head went blank for a while, and he was speechless for a long time. What shall we do? The following ninja swallowed his saliva, and the next moment, he was beaten. The Puffer Ghost gave him a hard smack. What should I do? Go back and report. The Puffer Ghost's expression twisted. He wants to chase. But after just a few glances, there is no clue for the time being, and it is impossible to judge how many people are there. But this is an elite team composed of 4 Jonin and Chunin. It is definitely not ordinary people who can deal with these people in a short period of time. If they rush after them rashly, they may be delivering food. So he chose to wait until Yagura came over, and let the kid have a headache. Anyway, isn't that guy fighting for Mizukage? After a long time, Yagura arrived at the scene. Seeing the scene, he took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and asked, Senior Fugu Ghost, did you sense the other party's breath when you arrived? There is one, but it's just a shadow clone. It should be left behind to destroy the body, so I can't confirm the number, said the Pufferfish Ghost. Yagura believed that he was not lying, and after passing the most angry stage, he gradually calmed down. Seeing the mess everywhere, he said, Please try to collect the corpses as much as possible. Even if you can't collect them all, you can find some clues. Yes. In fact, without his order, the Puffer Ghost has already been made. It just didn't pay off well. Kyoshi's Uzumaki at the end was too hard. That move was not very powerful, and it was not practical against the enemy normally, but it was surprisingly good at destroying corpses in the sea. The water blade formed by Uzumaki scratched the corpses, and some corpses were even torn out of shape. Looking for clues, they couldn't tell the difference at all, and could only vaguely find the edge of the knife, but it was impossible to analyze how many people there were from the path of the knife. Yagura looked around, then closed his eyes, and deduced repeatedly in his mind. In his mind was the silver-haired ninja from that day. Fast and ruthless. The same way. I don't know how many people there are, but the ninja I met that day must be inside. There may be another ninja who is good at wind-style swordsmanship, because the wound is deep, and it is obviously wind-style's nature transformation. Yagura's face was indifferent. We must collect information on this person. Otherwise we will be very passive in our subsequent actions. Not easy. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost shook his head. If it was before, he might have agreed with Ghost Lamp Qianren's proposition, and all the 7 swordsmen went to behead them together. But now, the opponent already has the strength to kill the 4-person elite team in a short time, and Yugura judges that the opponent is the same person who caught Ghost Lantern Chikage alive, so the opponent must be very fast. Once an infiltrated ninja is discovered, it will be difficult to escape the pursuit. Of course we can't collect it here. Let the assassination troops go around and go to the hinterland of the Fire Nation to check on the young Jonin who has a relatively famous reputation in Konoha recently. In addition, Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi can also exchange information. When Yugura said this, the thoughts in his mind gradually became clear. He looked at the scene, a trace of doubt flashed across his face. The other party took the risk to come here just to kill 4 teams? Something is wrong. He pondered for a moment, and immediately thought of the island. My plan is to quietly transfer inconvenient and large pieces of equipment, and then dig traps on the island to wait for the other party to come over. As a result, the other party did not come to the island, but attacked my transport troops. Not good. Go to support another fleet. The other party's intention is to attack our transportation logistics force, and we have to be careful that they find our new stronghold. He knew right away that something was wrong. Careless. Yugura felt remorse in his heart. He never thought that Konoha would bypass the base and go directly to touch the transport ship behind. Get rid of one now, but there's another one along the way. It is troublesome to be found. He immediately body flicker technique chased towards the direction of the ship. Have to say, Yugura was right to be worried, because Kyochi really thought so, and it was thanks to the fact that there were 2 Anbu-born ninjas on the team. Bai Yunzao and Yuguang Kazuki both played for Anbu, and have traveled to many places in the ninja world, and the sea is naturally a part of it. Although our ninjas can smash the reef, in order to save trouble, the general route is relatively fixed. If you follow the direction, you may not be able to find their base. Bai Yun said in the morning. Are we going to kill everyone this time? Yamanaka was thinking about it. The previous ship was completely killed, leaving no clues for the other party, but correspondingly, they consumed a lot of chakra. Even though they recovered some physical strength after taking Bingliang pills, the mental exhaustion could not be erased. Especially him. The Yamanaka family relies on mental strength for food, and now they are mentally exhausted, and their strength may have been greatly reduced. Don't be too greedy, just smash the ship this time. Kyochi smiled. The last Uzumaki Jutsu gave him some inspiration. And the key is to find the opponent's new stronghold and destroy the new stronghold. Not long. He found the second boat. This time I sent my clone over. Let's go around and go directly to the front of the opponent to find a stronghold. Kyochi didn't intend to linger. He sent his clone to dive into the sea, restrained Chakra's breath and went under the ship. It didn't take long for the Mist Shinobi to spot him. But by the time they found out, it was too late. Dozens of figures rushed towards the ship. This is the Shisui version of the instant body technique. Each clone may be where the real body is, and Kyochi's shadow clone controls the clone technique to make different actions. True and false, difficult to distinguish. Don't let him get close, stop him. What, it's too fast, it seems to be the real body. No, only one is the real body, he is in the water now, everyone be careful. The perception ninja behind shouted quickly. However, it was too late. A water column blasted out. Water-style water severing wave. The unstoppable high-pressure water column is unstoppable at all. Even if the Mist Shinobi ninja used the defensive ninjutsu of water barrier, the ship was still cut in half. Kyochi then used the Uzumaki technique to pull the broken vessel in the middle. When Jonin from Kirigakure arrives, Kyochi's shadow clone dissipates automatically, chakra is exhausted. Originally, shadow clone would not run out of chakra so quickly. But after someone split it out, he took half of the shadow clone back. Although the loss in the middle was not small, it was better than the loss here. This group of people quickly thought of a new stronghold. At this time, where can I still care about the ship and equipment? Go to the support base first. The base was found by Kyochi. But Kyochi didn't do any damage, but came over and used Shikiji Mai to control the detonator and bombed around the island. Big momentum, little rain. No real blows, more just telling Kirigakure. I know your new stronghold. Then, before the opposing ninja troops could arrive, they were gone. Yugura ran away lonely. The ship was not rescued, and the stronghold was found. He was speechless for a while. After a while, Lei Ya, the black hoe that chased Kyochi and the others, came back with an ugly expression on his face. Have you caught up? No. I ran so fast that I didn't even see a few people clearly. Lei Ya's face was ugly. He was ordered to guard this side, thinking that his speed was not slow, but he met a team that was faster than him. What the hell? He felt a little hard to accept. When the other party destroyed our ship, there was a shadow clone who showed up, with silver hair, about this height, wearing a mask, and carrying a sword on his back. It looks a bit like Konoha's White Fang. What the hell? How come out of Konoha's White Fangya? Yugura was stunned for a moment, then realized. The guy the first met the other day seemed to be wearing a mask and had silver hair. It seems reasonable to say that he was a relative of Hitaki Tsukumo. But Hitaki Kakashi has no brothers, and the Hitaki family has produced a White Fang over the years, so it cannot be from the Hitaki family. It must be the Senju clan. This person has a high status in Konoha East. Yugura took a deep breath. Be sure to get this person's profile. Hey Leia thinks that the problem now is, do you still want this stronghold? No, change. It's a pity, if we have more people, we can directly lay down new strongholds. Bai Yun was quite sorry in the morning. I found a stronghold, but I couldn't do anything, I just broke it a little and ran away. This result. A little not big enough. However, Kyochi smiled, shook his head and said, if I had more people. No, just one more Monado. Why would I fight here? I must go to their previous stronghold. Hit the previous stronghold? Moonlight was stunned for a moment, then understood. After they arrive here, a large part of the opponent's power will follow. If Namikaze Monado is here, Flying Thunder God leads people to transfer directly to the opponent's previous base, and the opponent has no time to deploy troops. Pity, no way, the situation in the north is also serious. The information I got before I came out was that the Cloud Shinobi in the north had gathered at the border of the Land of Thunder. I don't know what's going on now. Yamanaka sighed. Konoha is not weak, but there are too many enemies, and I just experienced another war. As long as the enemy has only one village, it will not be difficult to become like this. It's okay, we've already made money this time, and it will take time for the other party to move to a new location. Kyochi sealed the 100 healings mark gap again. This time he was the main force, and even the 100 healings mark was used as a last resort, but the results were very good. The 4 teams were wiped out, 2 ships were destroyed, and a new stronghold of Kirigakure was discovered. Yugura must be very angry now, right? Unfortunately, the other party will definitely increase their investigation efforts in the future. Then eat the patrol team. This time it was Yuguang Kazuki who answered. He followed for a while, and had gradually understood the essence of Kyochi's tactics. Mobilize the opposing team, then attack weak points. The reason is the same as the dance of Crescent Moon. Kyochi smiled, looked at Yamanaka Hayi again, and asked, Senior Hayi, what do you think? If you only intend to eat the opponent's patrol team, you don't need to assemble an elite team like this time. Just use Jonin and Elite Chunin as a team to deal with the opponent's scout team. Yamanaka is actually still thinking about it. He found that Kyochi's tactics sounded simple, but in fact they were very complicated. The 3 battles just now were very flexible, and it was by no means a simple matter of finding opponents and killing people. This requires a perfect grasp of the enemy's psychology and its own strength. This man Kanda Kyochi. Incredible. Yamanaka thinks he has a high opinion of Kyochi. Unexpectedly, the upper limit was refreshed this time. That's right, we don't need to dispatch the whole team in the follow-up. Let's do more guerrilla attacks and slowly eat up the opponent's ninjas. And don't worry too much. Just dispatch a part of them each time. What if all the opponents are dispatched and killed directly? Bai Yun was worried about this in the morning. His family knew about his family affairs, and now their eastern border ninjas had the least number of battlefields on 3 sides. If the other party jumped the wall in a hurry, he felt that it would be difficult to handle. This is where 3rd generation worries. Don't be afraid, we will behead them and kill their leaders when they come. Anyway, the battle at sea must be fast. Kyochi said. Mist shinobi ninjas are powerful near the water, especially the ghost lanterns. And he also has a big killer. Might wear it. Certainly. Kyochi didn't intend to let Might wear the 8th gate to change. There is no need, there are only 7 swords in the area. Might wears the 7th gate. Cooperate with him, Bai Yunzao and others to fight, it is not difficult to kill a few. Even. The guards came quickly, and it might not be impossible to wipe them all out. Mount Nagano. It's done, don't worry, everyone, take a rest. Kyochi's shadow clone steps out of the tent. He was wondering if the other party might steal the camp, but he was worried in vain. The 7 swordsmen had no plans to sneak in and behead them now. It seems. I really changed the trace myself. But Kyochi didn't think so either. Konoha is stronger than Kirigakure, with only 7 swords, there is really no need for an 8-gate powerhouse to exchange. Not worth it. After he finished speaking, he returned to the tent to rest. Everyone cheered. It seems that the teacher succeeded. Kuroko let out a sigh of relief. I just said that the teacher must be fine, he is so powerful, Mist Shinobi can't do anything about him. Asuma has more confidence than Kyochi. Yu Hahong glanced at him, smiled and said nothing, then hummed a song, very happy. Go, continue patrolling. Yes, the rest smiled and said nothing. Just like what Kyochi said, they basically didn't go to the outskirts, they just wandered around Nagano Mountain, and most of this area has been cleaned up, so where are the enemies? After patrolling for a while, Yu Hahong was stunned for a moment, and then a trace of joy appeared on his face. Shisui, it seems that your clan has arrived. So fast? Shisui froze for a moment, then quickly used his perception ability. His perception range was not as good as Yu Hahong, but soon, he sensed 1 or 2 people, and then the number increased. It's from the guard. Judging from the breath, it was undoubtedly Uchiha. A smile appeared on Shisui's face. The guards are coming. If they can play a role in the Eastern Front, the relationship between Uchiha, Mr. Kyochi and Tsunade can be further eased, which will be of great benefit to the follow-up. From the perspective of breath, those sent by the Patriarch are not weak. I don't know who, he thought. Not long. Several figures appeared in front, first Uchiha Inari, followed by Uchiha Sha, a 15-year-old member of the guard. Seeing Shisui, Inahara smiled. Rice Fire Big Brother. Shisui, good, more and more like a ninja. He patted Shisui on the shoulder, and then gave him a look. Then, Inahara looked at Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma and the others, and after a moment of hesitation, an unnatural smile appeared on his face. Then, you are Asuma, Red, right? My name is Uchiha Ricefire. I heard that Shisui mentioned you. Thank you very much for taking care of Shisui. Daohuo bowed slightly. Asuma's eyes widened slightly, looking a bit incredulous. Is this Uchiha? In fact, Shisui was also very surprised at this time. When he left, Daohuo hadn't completely transformed. He didn't expect that when we met again, he would change so much. Kurenai Yuhi reacted quickly, and quickly stopped and said, Where, Mr. Shisui is young, but he is actually the core of our team, and we all obey his orders. Ha ha ha, this brat can't do it, he's a little immature most of the time. He smiled, by the way, where is your teacher? I heard from the order that he is the commander of the eastern border. Shisui noticed that at this time Uchiha Yudai and other Jonin from the clan had arrived one after another. He nodded and said, Teacher is at the base, I'll take you there.
It is good. Inahara nodded, and then greeted Asuma and Hong with a smile before leaving.
The same goes for Uchiha-san. But subsequent ones were less friendly. However, even so, Asuma and Yu Hahong were still very surprised, but Jowo Genma was even more shocked, and stared blankly for a long time. After everyone had left, he asked in a low voice, Is that Uchiha's? Kurenai Yuhi was a little puzzled, but still nodded. Is it Shisui's big brother? Uchiha in the back is normal, maybe the one in front has a good relationship with Shisui. Ebisu wasn't surprised. No, Shisui. Has few clan friends. Asuma shook his head, he remembered that Shisui mentioned that he had no real brothers, and he had nothing in common with many people in the clan. That's why he and Hong were so surprised. Is the sun coming out in the west? Maybe. Anyway, these are not what we should understand, let's go back first. Yu Hahong didn't know, but she felt that it must have something to do with the teacher. When they returned to the base, not only Uchiha's people, Kyochi himself had returned to Konoha, and met with Uchiha's people. All elites. But this is just the first batch. According to Uchiha Yatsushiro, there are a total of 30 of them to support the East Territory, 10 of them are rushing at full speed to avoid delaying the fighter plane, and the remaining 20 are still in the organization and can arrive tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. It was late at night, and Kyochi sent them to rest. What's the matter? I'll talk about it tomorrow. When arranging the accommodation, Inahara and Shisui went out for a stroll through the survey. Shisui-kun, I heard from my brother. Shisui's heart skipped a beat. What did Iron Fire say? Don't talk nonsense, sell yourself. Wrong. If that's the case, Dao Huo wouldn't have such an attitude. He felt relieved again, looked around, and asked in a low voice, Dao Huo big brother? What the patriarch said makes sense. We should unite as one, first unify externally, and then resolve internal conflicts. Uchiha Inari looked around, then leaned into his ear, I told Yashi Senpai. Nima. I knew something was going to happen. Uchiha Yatsushiro is in his 30s, how dare this guy fool him, didn't Tai Huo make it clear? If I could stay in the village for a few more days. Shisui was filled with regret and fear. At that moment, he felt that his breathing was stagnant, and his heartbeat accelerated sharply. He read the book, listened to what we said, and agreed with the patriarch's point of view. Shisui was stunned for a moment, and then cursed secretly in his heart. What the hell? Have something to say that can't be finished in one breath. Scary, right? My heart almost popped out. Ha ha ha, Shisui, don't worry. Anahiro laughed halfway and couldn't help but looked at Uchiha Shisui with astonishment on his face. Shisui looked at him suspiciously, then glanced behind him. Nothing. Shisui, your eyes. Dao Huo pointed to his eyes, his face was full of disbelief and joy. Sharingan. Shisui opened his eyes. This is just over 5 years old, a little less than 6. Talent is great too. My eyes? Shisui froze for a moment, then looked up into the distance, and found that even at night, with moonlight, he could see many things clearly. This is, open your eyes? He was a little surprised and dazed. Can it still be like this? Great, if you open your eyes, we'll. Dao Huo big brother, let's not make extra trouble, otherwise my plan to give up the Chunin quota will be meaningless. Shisui said hastily. Uchiha Inahuo thought for a while, nodded and said, it makes sense, our Uchiha is a big hit now, it's not suitable for Zhongyang, by the way, can your teacher borrow some help? My teacher and Master Tsunade are siblings, so, you know. Shisui gives a hint. After hearing this, Dao Huo's eyes lit up, and he was about to ask again, but Shisui looked around to stop him from speaking, and said in a low voice, we'll talk more when we have a chance. I was negligent. Ricefire nodded. Really? Although there is a distance from the camp here, even if there is sensory detection, there are so many patrols and scouting ninjas, it would be bad if anyone heard it. Hold on tight, don't wave. But, thinking of Shisui opening his eyes, he couldn't help being excited again. Don't talk about me. It is good. Shisui himself didn't expect that being forced by Dao Huo even inspired Go Yu Sharingan, he didn't even know how he got back to the camp. Only know, after returning, he found himself in front of Kyochi's tent without knowing it. Kyochi rests inside. This raid really cost Chakra a bit, and they need to reply as soon as possible after returning, because they have to go out tomorrow to see if there is a chance to fight the autumn wind. However, after a while, he sensed Shisui's arrival. Teacher, can I come in? Come in. Kyochi rubbed his temples. The energy hasn't fully recovered yet, it should have been enough, but he spent some chakra that replenished the 100 healings mark, so it wasn't enough. It turns out, the gap in the 100 healings mark still has to be filled. Kyochi pondered in his mind, waited for Shisui to come in, and then looked up, only to see Shisui with a very serious expression, sat down and pointed to his eyes. Immediately afterwards, blood red emerged from his eyes. One hook jade. Open your eyes. Kyochi was taken aback, then took a deep breath. He knows. Something must have happened. Okay, I did promise to teach you a ninjutsu before, so. Let's go, I'll take you outside, so it won't affect everyone's rest. Kyochi got up and said casually, and then took Shisui out of Nagano Mountain to a secluded place. Shisui quickly told the front and back. Kyochi frowned. Uchiha 8 generations. He vaguely remembered that this person, like Dao Huo and Tio, had come to find Itachi's troubles after Shisui's death, and seemed to be an out-and-out martial arts faction. Such a person would believe Shisui's rhetoric? Totally impossible. Kyochi's heart sank, looked at Shisui, and said, do you think that person will really help you? Teacher, I don't know, but I was very worried and regretted at the time. I felt that if I stayed in Konoha for a few more days, maybe the rice fire and the iron fire would not be so hasty. Shisui felt sad and felt that he had done something wrong. His Sharingan was opened amidst excitement, fear, and remorse, although it was only for a moment. But Kyochi suspects that the reason Shisui only has one Goama is because he is only 5 years old now. Too young. Even if Uchi Potter's special power can be aroused at this age, it will not be too tyrannical, and it is even a question of whether he can freely control the power of his eyes. But this is much better than Sasuke. Sasuke was massacred when he was 8 years old. He only opened a hook jade, but he didn't know how to use it until later. Kyoshi complained in his heart, while secretly thinking about Uchiha Yatsushiro. He thought for a long time. Shisui was uneasy, feeling more and more wrong in his heart. Teacher, otherwise. Don't be afraid, Daohuo has won over 8 generations. He has helped you win over so many people. Even if there are only 2 or 3 people who really agree, then at least 2 or 3 people have been won over, right? Kyoshi figured it out. So what if the 8 generations really support it? As long as the rice fire keeps spreading, and most people agree with the Uchiha version of the will of fire created by Shisui and him, a new school of consciousness will emerge within Uchiha. At least it won't be Shisui and Itachi fighting alone, with themselves. Their thoughts won't be skewed and distorted to the point of being too outrageous. Thinking of this, Kyoshi thought it was a good thing. Not sure. 8 generations brought this theory back to the clan and spread it to the older generation. Does the older generation really agree? Can't tell. After all, Uchiha just longs for power and recognition, and it's not that the whole clan is really crazy and looking for death. He chatted with Shisui about this. Shisui was taken aback when he heard that. Can it still be like this? No problem. He couldn't figure it out for a while, but vaguely felt that what the teacher said made sense. Shisui was stunned for a long time, and then asked, Teacher, what should I do next? Nothing to do, improve yourself, chat with Daohuo every once in a while, and even teach him some swordsmanship that I taught you. How can this be? Shisui was astonished. Swordsmanship belongs to the teacher, how can he teach it at will? Kyoshi shook his head and said, It's nothing important, you have to convince them you're for Uchiha. So, Shisui thought for a while, and understood a little. He even steals his teacher's art, and the people in the clan will believe that he is Isshin as Uchiha. Even if someone knows that he has ulterior motives, he will not be cruel to him, but will protect him. On the contrary, those who identify with themselves are more approved. He admired and envied him, as expected of a teacher. I was still very worried, but the teacher explained everything in a few words. You don't have to admire me, I'm just a small way, and it's nothing compared to people who specialize in this game. Kyoshi patted his head. Shisui nodded, then looked up and asked, Is that Danzo? Him? Forget it. Among the 3 old things I don't like the most, he is the only one who has a little bit of tricks. The other 2, haha. Kyoshi smiled when he said this. With Tsunade's personality, it's okay if he doesn't have the strength after taking the stage. If he has the strength, he must find a reason to take the power of the 2 old guys. As for strength, don't you? Teacher, I will feel at ease in this way. Don't be in a hurry to go back. I will teach you an illusion, an action illusion. It should also work with Sharingan. You develop it yourself. Kyoshi said and moved his fingers. By the light of the moon, Shisui saw his movements, and then he saw the shadows of knives coming from all directions. Illusion bubble. In the anime, Uchiha Itachi's phantom is countless crows, and Kyoshi replaced them with knives, but the essence is the same. Although Shisui has been learning swordsmanship under his hands, his illusion talent is also very strong, otherwise it would be impossible to awaken the distinguished heavenly gods, so he listened to the principles and usage methods. Get it in no time. Go back and get used to it. You don't need to go to the battlefield at this stage, but I'm afraid this war will last for a long time. Yes. Shisui didn't know the situation in the north and west. But he knew that Konoha was not safe now, otherwise Namikaze Minato would not be on the eastern front. Kyoshi didn't let the genins play, because Mist Shinobi's high-end ninja combat power is not enough, but Mist Shinobi technique plus silent assassination technique, it really has a hand in abuse. It's really not necessary to let them go. When Shisui went back, he didn't tell Asuma and Yuhihong about the eyes, but relayed Kyoshi's words, asking them to take the time to practice and improve themselves. As for Kyoshi, he didn't expect to learn the illusion of tree binding and killing with simple teaching. This illusion is a relatively common technique in B level. Okay. At any rate, it can improve the illusion skills and a little chakra control ability. As for the illusion itself, the effect is not too great, unless one day Kyoshi can learn the one-handed seal tree to kill. His focus is on chakra absorption. This secret technique has been studied carefully, and there is really a lot of room for improvement. Combined with 100 Healings Mark, it can directly transform the absorbed chakra into the seal. Kyochi wrote down this secret technique and sent it to Tsunade through Katsuyu, and by the way, explained the situation of the battle. Tsunade has his hands full. She has been studying various medical books and Grandpa's notes recently, hoping to quickly create a Muji cure that she and Kyochi can use, but there is no clue yet. Too difficult. This is Kyochi's suggestion to let her master Baihao technique, otherwise this step alone may stop her for a long time. Tsunade was frowning. At this point, Katsuyu appears and spits out a scroll. She woke up immediately. Kyochi's message scroll. What's wrong with the front line? She took it over immediately, and after a few glances, she breathed a sigh of relief. Take the initiative to attack, destroy 4 teams, and discover the opponent's new stronghold. What a mess. But, looking at the before and after, she felt that Kyochi's strategy had been carefully thought out, and the problem was not too big. Now that the first batch of guard members arrived, the pressure could be greatly relieved. She read on. Then I saw the overview, principle and usage of chakra absorption. I was stunned at first, followed by surprise. She also understands how powerful this technique is. If the conversion rate and absorption speed can be improved, combined with Katsuyu technique and other ninjas, the effect of Katsuyu technique can be greatly extended, which is no different from a big killer on the battlefield. It's relatively weak at present, but the potential is huge. Good mystery. Then, she thought of herself. What the hell? Other secret techniques are thrown away, and my own Muji cure has no clue yet. She sighed, pondered with the scroll, and was about to practice it. At this moment, she sensed a breath approaching. How did he come? Tsunade frowned. She looked at the bedroom and saw that Shizune was already sound asleep, so she walked into the yard and whispered, "Come out. What do you want?" Clear some misunderstandings, and do you a favor by the way. A slightly hoarse voice sounded, and Orochimaru appeared instantly. Oh. Have we misunderstood? Kyochi's exam was arranged by Danzo, but the attempt failed, and I gave up getting blood by that means. Orochimaru raised his mouth slightly, and, if I really wanted to, would I use such a stupid way? Tsunade said nothing, squinting at Orochimaru. Maybe you can use this information. Orochimaru took out a scroll. Tsunade took it and looked at it, then his eyes became serious, revealing a little surprise and anger. Senju Hashirama Cell Research. Human life is fragile, if I had been exposed to it by then. He finished speaking in a low voice, and turned to leave. Orochimaru. Tsunade has mixed emotions when it comes to Nawaki. Nawaki is Orochimaru's approved disciple, and she knows that this guy will not use this as an excuse. Orochimaru is not that kind of person. She took a deep breath and said, "Don't take evil paths, let alone study that technique, it has a lot of loopholes. Don't worry, he's not qualified to order me. Hee. Hokage is their dream, and it's good that you can come back. With you here, that kid can change something." Orochimaru tilted his head, glanced behind him, and said after a pause, "I'm sorry about Nawaki, but one cannot live in the past forever." The next moment, he left with body flicker technique. Tsunade held the scroll, tears streaming from the corners of his eyes. Nawaki. Hashirama Cell Research. It contains very detailed cell research information, and there is also a conjecture of Orochimaru. Senju blood may be able to fuse Hashirama cells to gain part of Senju Hashirama's abilities. The study of Hashirama cells did not start with Orochimaru. Konoha had this plan as early as before, and after the resolution was unanimously passed by the high-level votes of the whole village, many ninjas voluntarily participated in the experiment. Some of Orochimaru's information came from that experiment, and some of it was apparently his own. Tsunade saw that he was secretly researching, so he was very angry. As for the source of the experimental body, there is no shortage of enemy prisoners in war, not to mention root help. However, I have to admit that this information is very useful for her research on Muji healing, because Muji healing is one of Senju Hashirama's physical characteristics. In the past, most of her information came from her own and Living Slug's memory. And now, with the data, she can see many things more intuitively. But, before Tsunade could study further, a piece of news that shocked her came. Udatane Kaharu has requested to resign as an advisor. Third generation agreed. Tsunade has no way of guessing Udatane Kaharu's expression at that time, and her current position is the head of the training department of the Konoha Hospital's medical class. She has a great reputation, but she is actually useless. As you can imagine, Udatane Kaharu must be very angry now. After Tsunade was shocked and happy, his mood was complicated. She naturally knew the reason. Third generation is paving the way for her to ascend. Not only Udatane Kaharu, another consultant should also step down, it's just a matter of time. She passes the news to Kyochi. Kyochi was also surprised. He guessed that the third generation might solve some problems, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. Before the war started, the consultant went to one first. It's also pretty good. When will Mitokado Homura be taken away? By the way, when the third generation steps down, take Danzo away with him. The arrival of the guards has slightly changed the situation on Nagano Mountain. Originally, everyone in the camp was dominated by Kyochi, but now, the people of Uchiha clearly have ideas of their own. So, early the next morning, in the tent. Kyochi Jonin. It was too late yesterday, and you were tired on the road, so I didn't talk to you in detail. Kyochi took out a map from the east to the land of water. 2 dots are marked above. Uchiha Yatsushiro was stunned for a moment, and then asked, "What is this map?" This point is where the tortured Kirigakure base is located. Yesterday, the 4 of us killed a 4-person elite team on the road, scuttled 2 ships, and found their new stronghold along the route. Kyochi put it lightly. But Uchiha Yatsushiro's eyelids twitched. 4? 4 people dared to hang out in Kirigakure's lair, and killed 4 elite teams. Why don't I believe it? He felt that Kyochi was bragging and wanted to give Uchiha's people a blow. However, he looked at it, but he couldn't see that they were joking in the slightest. Yatsushiro gradually became serious and asked, "Is this true?" "It is true." Hai nodded. Yatsushiro and Inahara looked at each other, not knowing what to say for a while. The 4 killed the 4 Jonin squads and escaped from Kirigakure's lair. This strength. They are very clear about the abilities of Yamanaka Hai and Yuguang Kazuki. Although Baiyun Morning is relatively unfamiliar, he does not have such terrible strength. After thinking about it, Kyochi may play a very important role in it. Daohuo's thoughts changed sharply, thinking of Shisui's words. He quickly stood up and said, "Master Kyochi, our guards have just arrived, and we don't know much about the situation here. If you have orders, just give them, and we will definitely cooperate." "Yes, our guard team is cooperating with your command this time." 8 generations of response is also very fast. Since Kyochi is powerful and is the designated combat commander of the village, it doesn't make sense for them to fight against Kyochi. The conflict between Uchiha and Konoha is not so big that it cannot be handled, and Yatsushiro himself has no intention of confronting Kyochi directly, but just wants to put on airs. Circumstances change, it is better to follow along. Today we don't plan to engage in elite squad assaults anymore, but instead use a fast multiplayer squad to cooperate with perception to detect ninjas, looking for the opponent's ninja squad to hunt and kill. But, in this way, aren't we directly fighting each other? It's about making a quick decision. When Kyochi said this, he glanced at Yatsushiro and Inahara and saw that the 2 did not say anything, so he continued. Today's strategy is simple. Yesterday was a careful selection to find out the 4 fastest Jonin, but today the threshold is lowered, anyone who is good at speed can participate. Without Uchiha, Kyochi can probably make up 4 teams. But now, there should be 5. After a brief explanation, he sent Yatsushiro and Inahara back. Yatsushiro and Inahara went out to the place where the guards were stationed, feeling very complicated. It seems that Shisui's news is correct. The 4th generation may really be Tsunade. The strategic deployment this time is all in Tsunade's style. Yashara looked serious. Inahiro told him yesterday that he still didn't believe it, thinking that Shisui might be too young to believe Kyochi's nonsense. Seeing it today, it's all true. 4th generation project. Tsunadeheim. If this is the case, it might not be a good thing for them to move closer to Kyochi, at least, Shisui might get more information from Kyochi. Yes, now Shisui joins the Tsunade team, Obito is on Jiraiya's side, and we are slowly getting in touch with the village again. As long as we persevere, we will surely succeed. Hehe, yes, yes. Yatsushiro narrowed his eyes and walked ahead with a strange smile. Among the islands in the sea, Yagura personally sits in command of the equipment delivery, and can hold all the sealing scrolls, so the ship transports them if they can't take them away. At the same time, he scattered most of the Mist Shinobi's forces and stationed them on the various islands along the way. As for buying an ambush or something, Yagura doesn't think about it for the time being. His idea is very simple now: wait for Cloud Shinobi Village and Iwagakure to make a move first, and then Kirigakure will see if they want to make a move. Fighting Konoha now is definitely not his plan. But who would have thought that Konoha would go crazy and hunt across the boundary? Is Konoha our third generation in power? Regarding this point, he also sent someone to investigate, and the information should be sent back after a while. However, before Yugura got Anbu's information, he got the message from the front. Konoha is on the move again. Which team is it again? No. This time they have 5 teams, and launched a surprise attack on our 5 islands at the same time. Most of our people left as you said, but there are still a few. Fighted with them? Yugura's face was ugly. He didn't have to think about the consequences, he would definitely lose. Konoha's combat command on the Eastern Front was a little tricky, and his strength was very strong, so he would definitely suffer a loss if he fought rashly. The ninja nodded. There was a fight, and a few people were lost, but Konoha's people didn't pursue them deeply. They left after the people behind us gathered. Yugura frowned. He thought that he might suffer a disadvantage, but he didn't expect Konoha to be in this situation. Hit and leave. Weird. Master Yugura, do I think it is possible that Konoha doesn't have that many people in the eastern region, and they took the initiative to deter us, making us feel that they are too strong to attack? The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost said after pondering for a while. His guess quickly aroused the approval of many Mist Shinobi ninjas. They provoked twice in succession. They were really disgusted and wanted to fight against Konoha immediately. Yugura pondered for a long time, and then said, "It's not impossible, but no matter what, it's not a good thing for us to fight Konoha now, and it will only let Cloud Shinobi Village and Iwagakure take advantage of it." Yes. The Puffer Ghost bowed and didn't continue to struggle. However, not every member of the 7 Swords is as Buddhist as Puffer Ghost. Yugura ordered the retreat, and Chidu Chiba was the first to be upset. After all, it doesn't matter whether he has a good relationship with Chikage Oni, being captured alive by Konoha may lead to the leakage of information and other secrets. At this moment, he very much hopes to start a war with Konoha. On a boat, Kyochi cancels the seal and restrains Chakra. "Teacher, how are you?" Asuma swallowed. He never expected that Kyochi would bring them to the front line today, and it was less than 3 kilometers away from where Mist Shinobi was. The dense fog of the island in the distance and the faint sound of explosions all brought a great sense of oppression. This is real war. Of course it's fine. Kyochi smiled. He was confident of bringing Genin here, so he didn't intend to fight him seriously, and he felt that Yugura certainly didn't want to, especially after the Mist Shinobi ninja was not found on the coastal islands near the Fire Nation. "Ms. Kyochi, are all the Mist Shinobi ninjas gone?" Might Guy was a little disappointed. "I thought I could play a game, but the result was to watch the battle and paddle." "Withdrawn. I don't need you in the future, come, contribute Chakra." Kyochi beckoned. A group of children froze for a moment after hearing this. Nima. Emotions pull us here, besides watching the battle, there is also the meaning of being a Chakra reserve. Yuhihong is the most obedient. After Kyochi finished speaking, she ran over. Not long. Most of the energy in her body was taken away. Afterwards, Shisui, Asuma, etc. were drawn one by one, and even Baiyun, who sailed in the early morning, was not spared, and all of them were drawn as Chakra. Kyochi's consumption replenished quite a bit. "Teacher, where are you going?" "I'm going to find their new stronghold. This time I'll go alone, and you guys will go back with you." Having said that, Kyochi has reached the distance. The speed is too fast. Don't sigh, even I was left behind. You little guys still want to join the war? Only Shadow Clone participated in the front battle in Baiyun in the morning. The main body did not participate in the battle, and half of Chakra was taken away. Absolutely nothing. But he can understand. In yesterday's battle, they played a big role, but Kyochi contributed more. Kyochi Kanda. What a genius. Baiyun sighed with emotion in the morning. In the past, he thought that Kyochi's strength was related to Senju's blood, but the more he got in touch with him, the more he understood that Kyochi's strength is not only due to blood and physique, but more importantly, his brain. Can do everything, and is very strong in every field. This is definitely not blood blessing. Basic 4 changes on the first day. Yugura. Although Lord 3rd Generation wants to elect you as 4th Generation, you are not Mizukage yet, and you have no right to order us. There must be only a few people in Konoha. HMPH, if you delay step by step, you will only be unable to fight in the end. Back off again. Most of the 7 ninja swordsmen couldn't bear it anymore. Such as Ghost Lamp Thousand Blades, Chestnut Shots and so on. So far, Konoha has been actively attacking, and they have been passively beaten except for the initial investigation of intelligence. although the understanding is to wait for Cloud Shinobi in the north to do it. But this is too angry. What do you want? Yugura glanced coldly. Although he is short, his strength is not weak, otherwise he would not be able to suppress many mist shinobi Jonin, but among the 7 ninja swordsmen, the Fugu ghosts who admire him the most on the surface are all convinced. As soon as this word came out, Loquat Juzang said, among the 5 ninja villages, our Kirigakure has the strongest assassination technique. Why should we be manipulated by the other party? Konoha can sneak attack, so can we. I agree. Ghost Lamp Chiba raised his hand with a smile. Yugura was silent. He didn't want to have a full-scale battle, but if he followed Konoha's example and hunted. It's not impossible. He was thinking about it when suddenly a bird circled in the sky and landed in the base. Yugura rushed over immediately. Kirigakure's messenger bird. After taking down the information, he looked at it carefully, and then circulated it to the 7 ninja swordsmen. This is the information sent back from the Fire Nation. Currently, Kyochi Kanda, the youngest Jonin in Konoha, is currently in command of the eastern region. He is good at Konoha Ryuken, water style, earth style and wind style, and he is extremely fast. Cloud Shinobi Village has crossed the border and is heading towards the border of the Land of Fire. Konoha's main force is responding in the north. As of the time when the information is sent back, Konoha doesn't have many ninjas in the eastern territory. The information is not detailed. After watching Yugura, he couldn't tell whether it was good or bad for a while. This is information from 3 days ago. 3 days have passed, and the situation is different, and Kyochi did not give much information in the intelligence, and more of it is what he has already speculated. Disaster. Certainly. The most difficult thing is not to deal with Kyochi, but how to deal with the 7 swordsmen. He was able to stabilize them with insufficient intelligence before, but now, these 7 people might not listen to him anymore, and Ishin wanted to fight back against Konoha. I have found the base of Konoha along the water veins below. Ghost Lamp Thousand Blade chuckled. The words are not finished, but the meaning is obvious. Counterattack. Raid. Where? Yugura asked hastily. He was very dissatisfied that Ghost Lamp Qian Ren concealed such important information from him. Ghost Lamp Qian Ren sneered and said, I don't dare to make a surprise attack. Why should I tell you? Yugura frowned, but still endured it. That's not necessary. Yugura-sama is also for Kirigakure's sake, let's discuss it together. The puffer ghost mediates in the middle. Only then did Ghost Lamp Chinba say, Nagano Mountain. This place is far away from the water vein, and you can actually check it out. Yugura glanced at the map and found it incredible. He believes this is Konoha's stronghold. The location is great. HMPH, what is the skill of our Ghost Lamp clan? Ghost Lantern Chiba was about to boast proudly, but when he thought of Ghost Lantern Chikage who had been captured alive, he lost interest and changed the subject. How about it? Who wants to go with me? We should let Konoha know how powerful we are. Otherwise Konoha might think that we missed shinobi ninjas or vegetarians. Woolly Jinba smiled bloodthirstily. Spray is a double-edged sword, which may hurt the enemy or himself, but Marashi Jinhachi is the most lethal among the 7, and many enemies and mist shinobi ninjas died in his hands. Okay. Let's go out and see the situation first. If there are not many opponents, just attack the camp directly. The 7 didn't intend to care about Yugura's opinion. They belonged to the Mizukage unit. If Yugura was Mizukage, they might have to obey orders, but now Yugura is quite far away from Mizukage, and the 7 naturally have some autonomy. So, they carried their knives and left the camp. Yugura was very angry, but he knew that now was not the time to be angry. None of the 7 of you is good at perception, Ching, you go with them and help perceive and search for information. Yes. Thanks, and if we happen to kill Kyochi, you'll be credited. Ghost Lamp Qian Ren waved his hand. Ao hadn't gotten the white eyes yet, but he was a good scout ninja with strong perception. They left. Yugura frowned. He believes that there are not many people in Konoha in the east. It seems that there is no big problem for the 7 swordsmen to hunt, but Yugura faintly feels that something is wrong. He looks at the map. There must not be many people in Kanda Kyochi yesterday. But, from discovering each other for the first time, to the attack on the 2nd ship and the bombing of the new stronghold. So fast? Yugura's heart skipped a beat. He understood what was wrong. The opponent's attack was orderly. Each attack had comprehensive consideration and response. It could be said that the plan was meticulous. However, the 8 ghost lamps and 1,000 blades did not have such a meticulous plan. Adaptive? It's not that simple. They must be brought back. On the other side, Kyochi was stuck within the limit range of Chakra's perception, pulling with the 8 people who were advancing rapidly. He found the opponent's lair. But what Kyochi didn't expect was that not long after arriving there, he sensed 8 people leaving the island and coming towards him very quickly. Was discovered? Kyochi pondered as he ran. He has experimented, and his chakra perception is farther than many perception abilities. Mist Shinobi logically said that there is no one who can detect him. What's the situation? He didn't know where he was, so after running for a while, he changed his direction. The opponent did not change direction. Could it be that their target is not me? Kyochi observed for a while, and figured it out. If not yourself. This position, is it Mount Nagano? He hunted and killed 4 teams by himself, and they dared to take the initiative to attack, so bold. There are not many brave and small-minded people in Kirigakure. This number is supposed to be 7 swordsmen, right? There is another one that is not clear. Kyochi pondered in his mind, thought for a while, speeded up and walked towards the coast, and after completely getting out of the range of the 7 people, he used the summoning technique to send the live slug to report the news to the shadow clone. Mount Nagano. Everyone was surprised when they got the news. Kirigakure took the initiative. Bai Yun was stunned for a long time in the morning, and he couldn't believe it. Kirigakure crazy? Yamanaka was puzzled, but soon. Another Katsuyu clone sent to Kyochi shadow clone. The living slug looked around, exhaled and said, Master Tsunade said that Cloud Shinobi Village crossed the border last night, and the outpost of Cloud Shinobi Village has been found near TNG country. In an instant, everyone understood. Cloud Shinobi Village hands-on. Master Kyochi. Don't worry, there are 8 Kirigakures here this time, and we just happened to go out and eat them. It's best not to let one of the 7 ninja swords get away. When Kyochi said this, he suddenly thought of the underground black market that Kakuzu often went to. I heard that there is an underground black market in the ninja world. There are often rewards for some ninjas. How much are 7 knives worth? Cough cough. Yamanaka coughed lightly, a little dumbfounded. 7 ninja swordsmen. Even corpses are valuable, so how can they be sold on the underground black market? Master Kyochi, I think the key now is whether you can stay or not. 8 generations are considered a face. The 7 swordsmen are not 7 Chinese cabbages, and the 7 of them may not be much weaker than Ying. According to him, apart from Kyochi's doubtful strength, there are not many other people in the camp who can fight against the 7 ninja swordsmen. In a real fight, it is not certain who will win. However, what puzzled Uchiha Yatsushiro was. It seems that even Yamanaka Hayi thinks that 7 swordsmen are nothing to fear. Why? Even if the Patriarch can arrive today, it can't be said that he will be able to win 7 swords. He couldn't understand it. Kirigakure is good at mist shinobi and assassination, and may come to attack at night. If your guards are restricted at night, you can defend in the camp. At this time, Kyochi Shadow Clone said. Yatsushiro and Daohuo were stunned together. Emotion. You didn't count our guards. As far as the people here in the camp, can you, Kanda Kyochi, fight 7 or what? What the hell? Hokage sent this group of people, they have grown to this extent. Yudai was a little angry in his heart. Uchiha has always been the only one who looked down on people, but this time it was their turn to be looked down upon. Seeing Kyochi's serious face, he twitched his mouth and said, That's fine. Maybe the other party will make a fuss, so our guards will wait for you. My lord guy is spinning. Okay, Mr. Hai, you can go together. If you don't hold back and beat him to death later, you can dig up more information while it's hot. Yamanaka always felt something was wrong. After pondering for a few seconds, he came to his senses. Well, emotional Kanda Kyochi didn't even bother him. He glanced at the angry Uchiha Yatsushiro, then looked around, and asked with a frown, Who are you going to take? Senior Dai, Senior Zhao, plus me, 3 people are enough. Kyochi thought for a while, and then added, You can send people to form an encirclement to cut off their back. If they want to run, you have to stop them, especially Ghost Lantern Thousand Blades. There are currently 3 guards who are good at lightning style, and they can all cooperate with you. Yatsushiro will have to see how Kyochi chooses 7 out of 3. In the early morning of Baiyun, he knew. Might wear. Never heard of it. The cowhide is blown to the sky. Very well. Their current route is like this, you should patrol along the way without stopping, but the patrol time is staggered, just pass by when they come over, and let out away. Kyochi Shadow Clone quickly drew a line on the map. He is not afraid that the 7 swordsmen will not come. He was afraid that if the 7 cowards went to the beach to kill a small team and then slipped away, that would be more harm than good. Yes. I'll notify you right away. Not for a while. The mouth of the urn is wide open, waiting for the 7 swordsmen to come in. Kyoshi got feedback. After that, he spent a lot of time finding a place that could not be detected by the mist shinobi ninja, but also could perceive the location of the 7 swordsmen. Sure enough, the 7 swordsmen went to Mount Nagano. What he is more curious about is, who is the last one? Judging from the breath of chakra, it is definitely not Yagura. I don't know which unlucky child it is.